Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth have appeared on Disney Plus internationally and FX and Hulu in the United States. I can't say I particularly enjoyed either episode, to be honest, but before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already, all that cool stuff. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books and my other channels and my websites, all that. Become a member on YouTube, then you get early access videos and exclusive videos, blah blah blah. Right, so off we go. So spoilers ahead for this good looking yet terrible first 2 episodes. Right, so these first 2 episodes, Neverland and Mr. October, are beautifully shot, and the cast do as they're directed, I suppose, but the script is risible, arty-farty schlock, reminiscent of something you might see on stage at the Edinburgh Fringe or a student art film festival. Noah Hawley is a well-respected showrunner. His Fargo series is highly regarded, as was Legion, although I didn't like that Marvel superhero show. But I think he's made a huge mistake with Alien Earth. First up, it's set in 2120, 2 years before the events of 1979's Alien, and we learn that a ship, the Maginot, has been out in deep space on a mission for 65 years. This means that it launched in 2055, only 30 years from now. So that suggests that all this cyborg technology and the spacecraft and all this amazing technology we've got is just around the corner for us now. I know it's science fiction. You could say it's an alternate universe. I don't know, but whatever. It's stretching verisimilitude for me. I am guessing the crew were in cryosleep for most of this time. The diverse, of course, crew has been collecting extraterrestrial life form specimens for Weyland-Yutani, one of 5 corporations that rule the world and colonise the solar system. We learn this in some incredibly clunky exposition delivered by Wheels, Michael Smiley, from Spaced. Of course, everything goes pear-shaped, although we only see this in jarring flash images, and the ship crashes to Earth in New Siam, a city controlled by the Prodigy Corporation, owned by trillionaire Boy Cavalier, sometimes referred to as Boy Genius. The names, much like the rest of the script in this series, are pretentious nonsense. The ship crashes without warning. Is there no monitoring of airspace in the 22nd century? By the way, all the crew are dead, either by the alien beasties that somehow escaped, or the cyborg security officer. I'm not quite sure. Or maybe a bit of both. As luck would have it, Boy Genius is experimenting with transferring the minds of terminally ill children into android bodies. Jean-Luc Picard waves hello from the late 24th century. By the time the ship crashes, Cavalier has a nice little squad of autistic robo-young adults who he sends out to check out the crashed Maginot. By the way, the gang is called the Lost Boys, after the kids who never age in Peter Pan, and they are individually named after the Lost Boys, and oddly, the Pirates. There's a Mr. Smee, as well as the Lost Boy kids. No Peter though, I don't think. Not that I noticed. Their birth names are no longer used. Don't dead name them. I bet that gets mentioned at some point. The leader is called Wendy, obviously, and we learn she can control computers remotely. Coincidentally, Wendy's brother, Joe Hermit, is the medic of a Prodigy Corporation military squad, which heads to the crash site to render assistance. Wendy, who was Marcy before she passed away, or before she was transferred, has been watching him via the computers, and we learn that he thought his sister died of her illness and he's the last of his family. He wants to break his contract with Prodigy and pursue a medical scholarship on Mars, but she takes control of the computer and refuses his request. What a cowbag! Yes, she's a 12-year-old girl in an adult body, but sheesh. Anyway, the squad enter the ship, which is embedded in a huge skyscraper, and start looking for survivors. Although it's very 9/11-y, Ground Zero, all that's going on in this. When they find them, they just say, medical tents are outside, and move on. Great help, guys. So we get to the creatures. A xenomorph is running around murdering people left, right and centre. A tentacly thing with a big eyeball with one retina or pupil that can turn into many retinas and pupils possesses a cat for a while. Creepy crawlies suck the life out of a couple of red shirts. We see a face hugger in a jar, along with a jump scare ripped off from Aliens, and alien eggs with the laser beam thingy over them. There's some pod-like things dangling from a ceiling that are both plant and animal, or something. But the star is the xenomorph, which is a she, apparently. Hermit can tell the gender of the alien by looking at it, it seems. As I said, from the trailer, the xenomorph didn't look slimy or wet enough for me, but apart from that, it looked fine. Hermit and Wendy are reunited, and she convinces him that she's his dead sister, but then he gets grabbed by the xenomorph as episode 2 ends. Obviously, it won't have killed him, like it did with everybody else. She'll save him lickety-split. So yeah, 2 hours of television that dragged like 3 hours, my attention often wavered, and I found myself reaching for my phone on several occasions. All these scripts are pretentious student film nonsense that has almost zero character development. You don't care for a single one of the characters, even the leads. Adrian Edmondson is wasted as one of Boy Cavalier's aides. Why do all the android host bodies for the Lost Boys have various accents from around the world? Do they match the kids? If so, bloody Wendy's doesn't. Even though she's portrayed by an American, it seems to me that she's affecting a slight European accent. Or maybe it's just me. I get things wrong all the time. The editing of the show is awful. It's very disjointed and choppy. We get constant overlays of memories. Like I said, it's very pretentious. And flash images of alien attacks. I wanted to really like this show, but I just couldn't get into it, which is a shame. The only good thing about it is the cinematography and the special / visual effects, which are top notch. Maybe that explains the $250 million budget for the first season of 8 episodes. Will I watch episode 3? Probably, but my expectations have plummeted to rock bottom for the rest of the season. That said, because of that, I might enjoy it more, but I wouldn't bet on it. 3 out of 10 for both episodes. So thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there. It's time to review episode 3 of Alien Earth, which is, a pretty good episode, I must admit. But before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books and me other websites and me channels and all that stuff. Or become a member of the YouTube channel, then you get early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. So let's get on with the review, shall we? So episode 3 of Alien Earth, Metamorphosis, is a huge improvement over those first 2 episodes that I really did not like. I gave them both 3 out of 10, remember. This episode, however, was great fun, and I found myself finally drawn into the narrative and the characters. So remember last time we ended with Joe, Wendy's brother, being carried away by the xenomorph, whatever, and our heroine android with a girl's memories went after him. If you recall, Wendy is a 12-year-old girl whose memories have been transferred into a synthetic body by creepy trillionaire Boy Cavalier. He has also done this procedure with a bunch of other kids and named his little troop of hybrids the Lost Boys. It seems he has a fixation with J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, or at least the Disney animated version of said book. When a Weyland-Yutani ship, the Maginot, smashes into a city controlled by Cavalier's Prodigy Corporation, he sends out his Lost Boys to investigate. Anyway, Wendy finds Joe in a refrigerated meat container, partly cocooned by the alien, and Joe warns her that it's a trap. Indeed, the creature sneaks up on them, but it seems wary of Wendy. Does it sense her being an android? It leaps up onto the roof of the container, and Wendy skewers it through the ceiling with her sword / guillotine blade, whatever. We saw her pull it off I think it was one of those manual guillotines for cutting paper and stuff. I think she just ripped it off that, didn't she? Much like Megan did in the first Megan film. And she's got a magnetic back as well. She just sticks it to her back. That's by the by. Anyway, acid blood drips down, much to their surprise, starts eating into the floor, and doesn't go very much further. They don't really do much more of the acid blood stuff in this episode, although we do see it steaming and all that, but it's not like eating through to the Earth's core or anything like that. Anyway, then the container is rolled about. I'm presuming the xenomorph got a bit cross there. And so they're all smashed about inside. And when Joe gets his bearings, Wendy has vanished. He climbs out and gets the xenomorph tail through his chest for his trouble. Very Bishop-like, but with less milk. Plot armour keeps him alive, though. The alien crawls on top of him, and he is about to get his face ripped out by the xenomorph jaws when Wendy appears with a huge meat hook, no doubt retrieved from the container, and uses it to snare the xenomorph's bitey tongue thing, but no acid blood this time. Just when it's needed for plot, which isn't often. The siblings manage to get the alien into a loading dock and close the door, but Wendy ends up on the wrong side, trapped with the beastie. As the sounds of battle can be heard inside, Joe hotwires the controls and manages to open up the door, and we see that the xenomorph is dead, its head severed and acid-ish blood steaming around. Wendy stands victorious, but we see white android blood drip down her face and she collapses. Joe spews blood and collapses beside her. Remember, he's got a punctured lung, we learn. Meanwhile, Slightly, another one of the Lost Boys, and who had accompanied Wendy to find Joe, is waiting for her return, only for Smee to arrive. I wonder why Smee is the only one of the Lost Boys named after one of Captain Hook's pirate crew. I have no idea. Smee had been sent to find them after the rest of the gang had been ordered to retrieve alien life form samples from the Maginot. The lone survivor from the Maginot is Security Officer Morrow, who is a cyborg, finds them and begins violently interrogating the two hybrids, unaware of what they are. He soon works it out, though, as they are acting in a very childlike manner, despite their adult forms. Morrow also downloads all the mission data from the Maginot into himself, leaving the ship's memory banks empty. He surreptitiously slips a device onto Slightly, which will allow Morrow to communicate with him later. Kirsch, the synthetic chaperone of the Lost Boys, arrives and Morrow escapes. The alien samples, along with the Lost Boys, what remains of Joe's search and rescue squad, and Joe and Wendy themselves are transported to Cavalier's Neverland Island base. And then we start to learn more about what Weyland-Yutani were up to in deep space. Joe's injured lung is removed, the lung is placed in a container and hooked up to paraphernalia, while Joe is put into a chamber, remaining unconscious for the rest of the episode, pretty much. Wendy is being ministered to by Dame Sylvia, portrayed by Essie Davis, who you might remember from The Babadook. Atom Eins, they all have weird names in this series. Noah Hawley is a pompous twat. Atom Eins, Cavalier's right-hand man, questions Smee and Slightly about their experience on the Maginot. Eins is played by Adrian Edmondson, and still looking just like his bottom character Eddie Hitler, I almost expect him to have a full pint of lager in one jacket pocket and a bottle of vodka in the other. Ha ha ha! Later, Morrow contacts Slightly through the device he secreted onto the android man-child. Using child psychology, he attempts to befriend the hybrid, and I suspect Slightly will be Morrow's key to finding the secret location of the island. Morrow had spoken with Miss Yutani, and we learn that she's the granddaughter of the Yutani that sent the Maginot on its mission 65 years earlier, confirming my statement from last time that they launched in 2055. She told him that the recovery of the alien specimens was top priority. I suspect that Neverland will be vaporised by the end of this tale, which is why we never hear of the xenomorphs until later in the timeline. Meanwhile, Nibs, one of the hybrids and the one who was attacked by the octopus eyeball creature last episode, appears to be struggling with her new life situation, asking why they can't use their real names and why they were put into adult bodies. It seems she's having some sort of mental breakdown, and it looks like she will be the catalyst for all hell breaking loose on the island very soon. While all this is going on, Curly goes to see Boy Cavalier and ingratiates herself upon him, seeming to want to supplant Wendy as the de facto leader of the Lost Boys. Cavalier seems a little taken with her, and there are uncomfortable undertones here, as remember she's a child in an adult body, and Cavalier seems to want a physical relationship with her at some point. That was the implication I felt anyway. Kirsch cuts open one of the xenomorph eggs and we see the facehugger inside. As he does his experiments, removing the creature, stunning it and cutting it open, we see that Wendy is somehow telepathically linked with the xenomorphs. Why and how is not clear, but hopefully it will be explained in due course, otherwise I'll be pissed off. Kirsch removes an embryo from the facehugger and the episode ends as we see them implant it into Joe's removed lung. No doubt this will grow into the khaki-patterned xenomorph we've seen in the series trailers. So all in all, a massive improvement over those two pretentious opening episodes, with us really getting to know some more of our characters and they're acting more like children, with all the uncertainty, fears, overconfidence, bravado, terror and emotional immaturity that brings. I genuinely thought that I was going to give up on this series after the first two episodes disappointed me so much, but I am now looking forward to seeing what happens and what stupid errors the characters make, as they will inevitably lose containment and the island will become a hell on earth. I'm sure we'll see Joe's squad of soldiers, of which he was the medic, come into play as they try to track down the escaped Xenos. I also want to see Cavalier come to a suitably grisly end, as he is a great, slimy, quietly psychopathic bad guy. Is it just me, or is Kirsch, played by Timothy Olyphant, giving off Roy Batty vibes from Blade Runner? I can see him turning on Boy Cavalier later. Speaking of Blade Runner, the city of New Siam could have been the Los Angeles of Blade Runner at a pinch. Are they trying to bring in another franchise to the Alien Predator universe? How is Wendy telepathically linked to the xenomorphs? Has she always been so? Did something happen during her off-screen fight with the alien that initiated this link? Does she have some sort of alien embryo inside her, unable to grow, as she has an android body, but creating the link to other xenomorphs? Remember, the aliens are silicon-based life forms, so could they form this kind of connection to an artificial person? Just a thought, probably wrong. I still don't like that the Maginot was out there for 65 years. It puts the launch way too close to our time. But I think they want Morrow to have nothing to lose, as we learn he had a family back then, and it's implied they're all dead, or at least unaware he is alive and working for Yutani. I don't think there has been any news on a second season, so I'm guessing that by the end of this run, Neverland, Cavalier, the hybrids and all the aliens from the Maginot will be destroyed by Weyland-Yutani when they find the location of the island. So I'll give this third episode a decent 7.5 out of 10. Yes, it was that much better in my opinion. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there. It's time to review episode 4 of Alien Earth, Observation, and which does what it says on the tin. It's not the most exciting episode so far, but interesting nonetheless. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books and my other websites and my other channels and all that cool stuff. Become a member of the YouTube channel, then you get early access videos and exclusive videos and all that cool stuff. Right, so off we go with the review of episode 4 of Alien Earth, Observation, or as they say in France, Observation. Anyway, right, remember, using their new child minds in android bodies prototypes, the Prodigy Corporation removed several extraterrestrial samples from the crashed Weyland-Yutani ship, the Maginot, to their secret island research base called Neverland. The Peter Pan references carry on in this episode, by the way. Following Wendy's collapse last time, after hearing the xenomorph's distress during Kirsch's experiments, we continue with Boy Cavalier, wanting to get more data about how she is in contact with the alien creatures. Unfortunately, we don't get any answers, but Wendy recreates the sound she heard, but does not know what they mean. It's suggested that she realises the aliens don't want the humans experimenting upon them. Duh. The other hybrids cannot hear the aliens, by the way. We get a glimpse into the other hybrids' issues. Slightly is still in contact with the Weyland-Yutani cyborg Morrow, and he holds the hybrid's family hostage, so he will cause a human on the island to become implanted by a facehugger from one of the many xenomorph eggs in the science lab. It seems that Slightly is going to get Joe Hermit to be that host. Nibs has gone off the deep end and stated to Dame Sylvia and her husband that she is pregnant, even though that is impossible. I guess she identifies as pregnant. After a violent outburst, Nibs is restricted to her quarters. I still think she's going to be the ultimate catalyst for everything going to hell on the island. Toodles, who is working with Kirsch in the science lab, decides he wants a new name, and that will be Isaac, after Sir Isaac Newton. Curly barely features in this episode, as does Smee. Although we do see them briefly, they do have some words, but their characters are not really expanded upon. Joe is reunited with a couple of his military squad, and we learn they're working on the island now. No doubt they'll be the cannon fodder in the field when the aliens breach containment. Speaking of Joe, he's looking remarkably well after having a lung replaced. To ensure his cooperation, Atom Eins, says if he quits, Prodigy will bill him for the new lung. Ah, capitalist healthcare. Remember, Joe's removed lung is playing host to a xenomorph embryo. In one scene, it suggested that Eins may be an android like Kirsch. Also during the episode, we see Kirsch introduce a poor sheep to the eyeball octopus alien. The creature replaces the sheep's own left eye and completely possesses the woolly animal, even having it stand on two legs for a while. I think the cat we saw previously also had its left eye replaced by the beastie. Deliberate use of the left or sinister side. We are told that the sheep alien is now highly intelligent, but it has done nothing yet to illustrate that. I guess it's observing them, the title of the episode, right? And waiting for an opportunity to escape. The episode ends with Wendy verbalising the alien sounds at Joe's lung in its container when the chest burster bursts out, not only of the lung, but out of the container itself. She coos at it, and it seems soothed by her presence, allowing her to stroke it. It might have been suggested that Alien Earth is a Marmite TV show in that you either love it or hate it, but me, being a contrary bugger, is ambivalent towards it. I loathed the first two episodes as patronising garbage, but episode 3 I thought was really good. Episode 4 though lies somewhere in between, a little too talky, but I found the conversations mostly interesting as we learn a bit more about the characters. Boy Cavalier is completely psychotic, having no regard for anything but his own curiosity. The hybrids are struggling with their own different issues, except Wendy, of course, who is the girl who is the key to everything, and who will at least try to save everybody. Of course, I think just about everybody will die by season's end thanks to a Weyland-Yutani airstrike or whatever. Morrow, after being shown in a slightly, forgive the pun, sympathetic light, now is just a moustache-twirling bad guy. Joe wants to leave but cannot due to the threats from Atom Eins. Joe and Wendy will clearly be the last two survivors, maybe even escaping the island before its ultimate destruction. About the aliens, we haven't really learned anything about how the Maginot obtained them. How many worlds did they visit during their 65-year mission? Did they get the xenomorph eggs from LV-426, or one of the worlds seen in Prometheus or Alien Covenant? Did they encounter the Covenant spaceship with David and his new xenomorphs? I suspect we will not get the answers, and it will be left ambiguous. So while this wasn't as good as episode 3, I still thought this was an okay effort, and I'll give it 6 out of 10. We're halfway through the season, so I expect the acid blood will hit the fan pretty soon. So there we go, we will leave it there. So thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there. It's time to review episode 5 of season 1 of Alien Earth. I don't know if there's going to be other seasons. I've heard I think last year, something like that, they said that there is going to be a season 2, but apparently one hasn't been greenlit just yet, as far as I know, as of doing this recording. But anyway, but don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books and my other websites and channels and all that stuff. And become a member of the YouTube channel, then you get early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. So if you recall, I hated the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth. I thought they were pretentious garbage, written and directed by showrunner Noah Hawley, who is so far up his own artistic arse, that's in quotes, that he can see the back of his own eyeballs. That said, I enjoyed episodes 3 and 4, and I had high hopes for episode 5, as, according to the trailer, it will show us what happened on the Maginot before it crashed into New Siam. As usual, when you get your hopes up, they get dashed into a million splinters. Noah Hawley returns as writer and director, and this makes me wonder if this was supposed to be the first episode of the series. But higher-ups at Disney, yes, Disney, not FX or Hulu, Disney, higher-ups at Disney told him to put this episode halfway through. I guess they thought interest might start waning by this time, and an action-driven episode bolstered by a good trailer might rejuvenate the show. Alas, this is a poor episode. Titled In Space No One, Hawley is such a patronising twat. This is not as bad as the first 2, but it is very poorly executed with atrocious characters, dialogue and acting from most of the cast. So, as said earlier, we are seeing what happened aboard the spaceship Maginot as it is returning to Earth after its 65-year mission to collect deadly alien life forms from wherever. It is 17 days from Earth, and we pick up from the point where there has been sabotage on the ship, and Morrow, the cyborg security officer, is awoken from cryosleep by his junior security officer, Clem Mady. Yes, he gets called Chlamydia. The Maginot has a crew of 15, but not all of them are awoken, and it is never made clear what the procedure is for waking the crew in an emergency. For instance, the chief engineer is not woken, but his 2 subordinates are. Why? Because the chief engineer is a bad guy, as we learn later. Why not just make the saboteur one of the other officers? Anyway, the fire is contained, but 2 facehuggers were released and have attached themselves to Captain Dinsdale and another officer called Bronsky, who had been in a surreptitious sexual relationship with First Officer Zaveri, which goes against company policy. The crew of the Maginot are all idiots, by the way. Not just idiots, but staggeringly incompetent idiots. Morons of the highest calibre. Complete and utter numpties that can barely tie their shoelaces, never mind undertake a highly complex deep space mission. The ship's doctor, Rahim, kills the captain after he tries cutting off the facehugger's tail, thus releasing acid blood and killing creature and victim. But we don't see where all the acid blood went. Remember in Alien, it ate through several decks. We do see a hole later. Maybe that's what we're left, I don't know. But anyway. But the hole was on another deck. But anyway. It is decided that Bronsky will be put back into cryosleep. Unfortunately, we learn that cryosleep does not affect the xenomorphs and the chest burster erupts. Off-screen, obviously. By the way, this crew somehow knows that the xenomorphs can survive the vacuum of space. It is not explained how they know this. Remember, this takes place 2 years before the events of Alien. So we have a xenomorph running about this huge 125 million ton ship. But the crew don't really seem that bothered about this, spending time arguing, joking and doing everything except what they should be doing. Zaveri assumes command and tries to control the situation, and to be honest, until she meets her fate, I didn't mind this character. The only crew who seem reasonably competent are her, Morrow and Shmuel, the engineer, played by Spaced Michael Smiley. He played Tyres in Spaced. He also had a brief appearance, like a cameo, in Shaun of the Dead. He's been in other stuff as well. Morrow spends most of the 1 hour and 5-minute episode sleuthing to find out who the saboteur might be. The communication logs were erased, but the computer is reconstructing the data, so there's a running clock there. Scenes of him watching security recordings go on far too long, and when we finally see the communication logs, we discover that the chief engineer Petrovich has been in direct contact with Boy Cavalier, owner of the rival Prodigy Corporation, who wants him to sabotage the ship and deliver him the alien specimens. All of this over an unsecured line that the security officer can just watch at his leisure. This is like Jeff Bezos calling me on my home phone number and asking me to go rob my local Argos. Delegation of tasks or plausible deniability obviously are not an option in the 22nd century. So what next? Science officer Chibuzo studies the leech-like creatures, allowing one of them to escape and ejaculate its seed into her water bottle. I am not kidding. Then she fails to secure the container of the eyeball octopus when she is distracted. As I said, they're incompetent, so the eyeball thing escapes after causing the container to fall and smash on the floor. You would think biological sample containers in the 22nd century would be a bit more robust, but no. Taking her infested water bottle to a crew meeting, the contents are drunk by malachite, the astonishingly thick engineer's apprentice. So he starts spewing blood later and is taken to the medical bay where Raheem cuts open his chest to remove the several creatures that are growing in him. Apparently that was quicker than putting him back into cryosleep. Anywho, when Raheem, assisted by Chibuzo, tries to pull out one of the tick leech thingies, it farts a pungent gas that kills everybody in the room. What is it with these extraterrestrial species and their lethal biology? What next? The creepy navigator, Teng, who acts more like a robot than Ash and spends his spare time staring at one of the sleeping female crew, Teng gets taken out by the now full-grown xenomorph. Off-screen, of course. Morrow and Kem go looking for Petrovich just in time for the xenomorph to drop down behind Zaveri. They stare at each other for an age before it... Sorry, the Xeno is a she, isn't it? Before she trips up Zaveri, but does nothing and allows her to run off through the ship, allowing for long tracking shots through the corridors. She climbs down a ladder really slowly, and the alien doesn't get her. They must be like safe rooms in video games. Zaveri gets to the bridge and finds Shmuel there, but he has been possessed by the eyeball octopus and beats up Zaveri, but doesn't kill her for some reason. The xenomorph ran away, by the way. I think the xenomorph is a guy in a suit for many of these scenes, and it shows. Hawley wants us to see the beast in all its well-lit glory, but it kinda looks goofy to me. Xenomorphs are at their best when they're slinking in the shadows, stalking their prey, not doing weird dances in bright corridors. Meanwhile, Morrow and Clem find Petrovich and a shootout ensues with Clem being killed. Morrow sneaks up on the chief engineer and stabs him with his Wolverine blade, or is it his Assassin's Creed stealth blade? Morrow climbs through the vents and comes out next to the bridge just after the Xeno buggered off, luckily. He shoots Shmuel with his super taser, but the eyeball octopus thing calls out, I am presuming in the xenomorph language, and the alien sticks its head through the bridge door as though saying, "You called?" Then, in a tremendous face turn, Shmuel attacks the xenomorph, leaping onto its back and biting it with no signs of acid blood to be found. The beast kills Shmuel with its stabby tail, and Octo Eyeball detaches and scurries off. Morrow shuts himself in the mother room, and we see what we saw in episode 1, where he shuts himself in the safe pod thingy and Zaveri is killed to death by the xenomorph. Now, how long was Morrow in that pod? I didn't get the impression that days and days had passed after he was woken, not 17 days at any rate. By the way, is 17 days a reference to the length of time the colonial marines in Aliens would be rescued from LV-426? Then we cut to the Weyland-Yutani building in what I think is Chicago, and we are now in the series' current timeline. Morrow has somehow made his way from enemy territory in Far East Asia to North America to meet with Ms. Yutani, and she tells him that Cavalier has requested arbitration about the legalities of the Maginot crash. Morrow tells her if she wants the specimens, he has to do it his way, and she tells one of her underlings to give him whatever he wants, and with that, the episode ends. While the general story of the episode was reasonably fine and the sets were phenomenally good, the execution of the script by Hawley was atrocious. What could have been a tense, exciting, scary episode was ruined by Hawley injecting his arty-farty, or artsy-fartsy if you prefer, shite, and derailing the impetus of the story. Do we really need those extended shots of Morrow and his daughter on the beach by a bonfire, and then we learn she died, so he shows us the bonfire by itself? His studying of the security screens went on far too long. What is Hawley's obsession with voyeurism? The characters, as I said earlier, are completely incompetent. Frankly, they deserved everything that happened to them, except the ones that bizarrely were left in cryosleep, of course. Maybe they were the A shift and we got the B shift. So all in all, an episode that should have been so good was spoiled by bad artistic decisions from Noah Hawley. I'll give this 4 out of 10, and that is just for the amazing set design. Next episode is called The Fly. Is that a reference to the popular Breaking Bad episode of the same name, directed by Rian Johnson? Dunno. By the way, that was my least favourite episode of that great series, and I saw it before Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars with The Last Jedi. So we'll leave it there. As I said, 4 out of 10, and that was just for the sets, which were really, really good. They really recreated, essentially, the set of the Nostromo. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there. It's time to review episode 6 of season 1. Is there going to be a season 2? Who knows? Of Alien Earth. This one's called The Fly, because there's a fly in it. That's their couple. But they could have called it something else. I don't know why they called it The Fly. Was it because of, David Cronenberg's The Fly, or the Breaking Bad episode The Fly? I don't know. But anyway, whatever. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books and my other websites and my other channels and all that palaver, or become a member and then you get early access videos and exclusive videos and all that cool stuff. Right, so off we go. So episode 6 of season 1 of Alien Earth is called The Fly, and unfortunately, while it has 1 or 2 decent scenes and a lot happens, it is mostly a return to the poor form of the first 2 episodes, in my opinion. So spoilers abound from now on. The xenomorph has grown from the cute little chestburster into a cute mini drone, and Wendy communicates with it through the glass, perspex, transparent, aluminum, whatever, of its cell. Remember when xenomorph was a catch-all term referring to any alien creature? Not anymore. Apparently they've been called xenomorphs from the get-go, and not since Lieutenant Gorman used the word in Aliens. I meant to mention this last time, but forgot. At least the aliens in this show aren't dumb like me and the rest of the cast. Anyway, Joe and Kirsch watch Wendy, amazed at how she can seemingly talk to the beast, but nobody ever asks her what it is saying. She's talking to it because she says she was struggling with pronunciation, but is getting better. So they're having a right old chit-chat by the sounds of it, but nobody asks what it is saying. Meanwhile, Nibs gets her memories erased to before the hybrids went on the mission to the crashed US CSS Maginot. Dame Sylvia's husband Arthur gets fired by Atom Eins for refusing to perform the procedure. By the way, Sylvia is the surname, because later we hear Arthur refer to himself as Dr. Sylvia. So is Dame Sylvia actually a dame, as in a female knight bestowed with the honour by the UK monarch, or is her first name just Dame? No idea. Not that it matters one jot. Anyway, so Dame Sylvia erases Nibs's memories by herself as her husband packs his bags to leave the island by the end of the day. Nobody, it seems, decides that it might be a good idea to tell the other hybrids, or anybody else with whom Nibs might come into contact, that it might be best if they don't mention any of the events from after the Maginot crash to Nibs, as she has no memory of those things. So Wendy tells Nibs everything about what happened after the crash of the Maginot, including the eyeball octopus attacking Nibs and making her scared, and that she was claiming to be pregnant, the very things that necessitated the memory wipe in the first place. I am beginning to wonder if the crew of the Maginot were not deliberately written to be morons, but that the scriptwriters, including showrunner Noah Hawley, might be morons themselves. But more on that later. Boy Cavalier, Kirsch and Atom Eins, I just want to call him Eddie, travelled to the mainland to attend the arbitration meeting set up by the five corporations that rule Earth. Not sure exactly where this is. Is it in Prodigy territory, i.e. New Siam, where the Maginot crashed, or some other Prodigy city? Is it in Weyland-Yutani territory, i.e. the Americas, or is it in neutral territory, controlled by Lynch, Threshold or Dynamic? Who owns Hyperdyne Systems, by the way? I'd have thought it was Weyland-Yutani, but it's suggested in this episode that they only have cyborgs like Morrow and not synthetics like Kirsch, Ash, etc. So is Hyperdyne a subsidiary of Prodigy, or does one of the other corporations make them? Again, no idea, and does it really matter? Not really, I'm just curious. Anyway, a deal is struck with Ms. Yutani agreeing to pay Prodigy $20 billion for the return of the alien specimens after the legally mandated 6-week quarantine period ends. Obviously, Cavalier doesn't give a toss about the money and is just playing for time. Then it's suggested that Wayland Yutani might storm the Neverland Island, but Morrow says they've increased their security. I don't know where he got that idea, because security in that place is practically non-existent. He has his plan in motion, but he says it has a high probability of failure. Confidence is waning, mate. There's a brief scene in an elevator between Kirsch and Morrow, and I was hoping they were going to tear the house down, but they only did so verbally, and I'm surprised it didn't descend into a Yo Mama battle. Anywho, Morrow gets back in touch with Slightly and reminds him that if the hybrid doesn't infect a human on the island with a xenomorph embryo, then Morrow is going to murder the young lad's family. I think he's bluffing, by the way, but whatever. Slightly has an exchange with Smee, which is 1000% annoying, with the Smee actor doing a terrible surly child performance. Ugh. Slightly tries to get Hermit to follow him to the lab where the Xeno eggs are, but one of Joe's security team chums arrives and whisks him away for a patrol, during which Joe is about as subtle as a brick when asking questions about how to get off the island by airship or boat. Airship? Do they have zeppelins? His buddy says the boat docks are down that path there, right there. Remember, that's where you'll be escaping in the last episode, probably. Got that, Joe? Wendy has a moment with the now full-grown xenomorph, and Kirsch, on his way back from the mainland by this time, contacts Tootles and tells him to go to the lab and feed the specimens and set up the next round of experiments. Eager to please, Tootles toddles off. Ha! As Eyeball Octopus Sheep watches on, Tootles prepares dinner for the creatures. What's he planning to feed the xenomorph? Dunno. The specimens are fed through hatches that prevent them from escaping. He accidentally rips off the hatch to one of the cells, and instead of calling maintenance to report it, he opens the door to the cell and gets attacked by the fly. The only one of the specimens we had yet to see. These fly creatures, which look like something from the film Evolution, by the way, eat metal and rocks or something and squirt some corrosive substance onto Tootles' face, and he falls down and dies / turns off / breaks down / whatever. Then the flies start eating him. If they eat metal and rocks and stuff, why didn't they eat their way out of the cell? No alarms go off, by the way. Containment is clearly breached, yet this high security island owned by a boy genius has nobody watching the security cameras, no guard patrols checking out critical areas or anything like that. So this is where I get to the part about the writers being morons, particularly Noah Hawley, who is the showrunner, head writer, and basically signs off on the scripts written by others. Now, I'm not saying that they and Hawley are actually morons, but they keep writing scenarios that make both the characters' situations, and by extension themselves, seem moronic. Why is security so lax on this island, where we were just told a few minutes earlier that they'd increased security? Obviously, it's for plot reasons. If safeguards that would be in place in real life alerted others to what had happened in the lab, then the story could not unfold. It makes no logical sense in the narrative, so the writers just go round logic and hope the viewers will not notice. But of course, the viewers do notice, and it takes them out of the story and has them rolling their eyes and shaking their heads and calling the situation moronic. Apologies for overusing that term, but I can't say retarded, can I? This happens quite often in current day cinematic storytelling. When I say cinematic, I mean both on the big screen and on television, particularly streaming series. What we have are filmmakers who also think of themselves as writers, but they are filmmakers first and foremost. They think about what looks good on screen, how the scene can move forward, where characters are standing in the frame, and when the action is going to happen. They are not thinking about the logic or common sense aspects of the storytelling, because they are not storytellers. They are filmmakers first. Storytelling takes a backseat to the images on screen, frame composition, double exposures, slow dissolves, slow dramatic camera movements, etc. I know this has been a part of cinema, particularly horror and science fiction, for decades. Don't go in that dark room, you idiot, where the characters do the dumbest stuff. But this new crop of filmmakers take it to the next level. Whereas older movies were low-budget affairs where the filmmakers had to make do with what they had, thus taking shortcuts in terms of script writing and sending the pretty young woman into the dark room with the faulty flashlight. Today's auteurs for they think of themselves in that way. Today's auteurs get hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at them, all the latest technologies, and the best people behind the scenes in terms of set design, lighting, special effects, makeup, etc. So they have no excuse for writing their characters as bumbling idiots. They could easily show us that the alien flies had weakened the door with their corrosive saliva and burst out, attacking Tootles, giving him no time to react. Alarms could go off and we could see security teams rushing to the room, but it's too late. The lab is sealed because of the breach, but the flies are trying to escape, spraying their corrosive gob at what they deem to be weak points, vents, windows, door hinges, etc. It's already been shown that each of these alien species is pretty smart. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Back to the show, not my fanfic. Wendy and Dame Sylvia have a bit of a row about Nibs's memory wipe, and Wendy says that she's called Marcy. Do we call her that from now on? Arthur Sylvia is packing his bags, not noticing that Tootles is lying dead on the lab security monitor. Joe arrives and asks him if his sister is safe. Arthur looks at the security camera and says yes, she's perfectly safe. Why is he glancing at the camera? No buggers watching them, it seems. Well, except one person, but we'll get to that. He calls Joe over to a monitor and types on the screen, "Get the F out of here with your sister. Here's the code for the boat dock." Trillion-dollar corporations don't monitor computer activity as well as security cameras either, by the way. Then he turns off the trackers for the hybrids and Joe sods off to find Wendy or Marcy or whoever the hell she's identifying as now. Then he notices that the tracker for Tootles is not working and that Tootles' last known location was the science lab. If he'd looked at the security monitor a minute earlier, he'd know this. Anyway, Slightly is at the lab, ready to punch in the code to enter, but falters, and Morrow's disembodied voice tells him that he must do as he's told or his family will die. Then Arthur arrives, taps in his code and enters the lab. He just got fired, remember, but his codes still work. In these corporations, the second you're fired, you're locked out of the system. That's why security escort you out of the building. But whatever, as I said, filmmaking trumps storytelling. So Arthur and Slightly enter the lab, and Arthur tries to drag Tootles out of the fly cell. Slightly surreptitiously opens the cell to the xenomorph eggs. A facehugger eventually leaps onto Arthur's physog and Slightly drags him to a massive air vent, closing it behind him, just in time to stop a fly from getting to them, and the episode ends. By the way, Kirsch has been watching all this on the plane ride back to the island on like a tablet, but he doesn't report any of it, even when asked if everything is okay, so it seems he has his own agenda. Is he working for Weyland-Yutani or one of the other corporations? Does he have his own plan? Is he just curious to see what happens when the aliens break containment? Does he hate humanity and want to see Earth burn? Who knows? It will probably turn out to be something stupid and out of left field. So again, not a great episode, but like last week, it could have been so much better if the writers didn't make everybody in the story a complete numpty. 2 episodes left, and if the island doesn't get nuked in the last 5 minutes, I'll be very disappointed. I just want to see these characters get vaporised. I'll give this episode 5 out of 10 because it was ever so slightly better than last week, if only for the creatures we see. So there we are, we will leave it there. So thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say there. It's time to review Episode 7 of Season 1, if there is going to be more seasons, of Alien Earth. I think this one's called Emergence. I would have called it something else. Because this was unintentionally hilarious in places, and eye-rollingly mental. Again, more dumbness going on in the... I can't say it in the actors, in the characters, the script writing. It's just really badly written. I don't know what Noah Hawley was thinking, but anyway. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. It will really help the channel to get those recommendations out there. Explore the description for Explore the description for links for stuff like merch, which I'm not wearing, and my books, and the other websites, and all that other stuff. Become a member and you get early access videos and exclusive videos. all that stuff. Right, so let's get on with this, shall we? Let's go through this episode, and I'll try and not just break out laughing at various parts. So here we go. So anyway, so we begin with the usual intro sequence. It gives us a recap of what's gone on previously. Right, so here's Slightly. I forgot his actual name, because obviously they're all named after characters from Peter Pan. That's what Boy Cavalier's named them after. And I forgot his real name. But anyway, he goes by Slightly because he's got a white tiger there with him. Because apparently we're in a film, a Bollywood film called White Tiger. Apparently. Thank you, Heavy Spoilers, for telling me that. But anyway, there he is, sitting in his quarters. Remember last time we saw him, he was pulling Arthur Sylvia, the doctor, who had been got by a facehugger in the lab, and he pulled him in through a vent before the dissolving fly creatures got to them. And I thought, fair enough, it's put him in a vent, it's going to get him out of the building straight away. No, it's just taking him to his room. It's the last place they'll look. So there we go, we see he's put him under the bed. They won't think of looking there. I know the kids in adult bodies, but even kids aren't that stupid, have they? I don't know, but anyway. He's put him there, you can see him with facehugger on. He tries to give him a drink of water, because he's speaking to him, thinking he's going to be okay. He thinks Arthur's going to be okay, because Morrow, who's been speaking to him inside his head, has said, I'll make sure he's okay. He'll have a bad couple of days, but I'll make sure he's okay. Obviously, Morrow's lying his bottom off to him, but as he tries to give him a drink of water, it tightens its grip, so to speak, with its tail around his throat. So anyway, then Smee arrives. I still don't understand why they've called one of them Smee. They're all named after the Lost Boys, who were Peter Pan's gang. So we've got Slightly and Nibs and Curly, and is that it? And Wendy, obviously. But for some reason, this lad is called Smee. I don't know why, because Smee were Captain Hook's first mate or something, wasn't he? So I don't understand the naming convention there. I'm sure there were other Lost Boys they could have named him after. Don't ask me what the names of the Lost Boys. But anyway, he's for some reason he's come to see Slightly, who are apparently best friends all of a sudden. He's come to see Slightly, but Slightly won't let him in, and he says, I'm busy, and he says, we're never busy. But eventually he comes in, and he sees Arthur under the bed, so he's shocked, and he says, we've got to get him out of here. Morrow said he's going to murder my family. I think he already has, by the way. To be honest, I thought we were going to get an image of Slightly's murdered family. We saw his mother in a previous episode, and Morrow were there with his mother. Don't know how he found them, but anyway, he did. I think he's probably already murdered them. And I thought we were going to get like because this is Noah Hawley, it's all artsy-fartsy. Lots of, what they call it, superimposed images, transparencies and all that. Because he doesn't think that the audience is clever enough to realise something for themselves. But I thought we were going to get a view, or maybe a flash image of his dead mother, but we don't. So maybe he hasn't killed him, that's just my thought. Anyway, so he's telling him that they've got to get him out of there, so he agrees to help. Meanwhile, Kirsch arrives. He's been watching, he watched last episode, he watched all the disaster unfold in the science lab. He's now there. He sees the egg open. He saw what happened on the security monitors. Apparently nobody else watching the security monitors. No alarms went off as far as I could tell when these doors came open. They go off later on this episode when the doors come open, but they didn't do this time. Anyway, he sends a squad in to capture the flies. There's 2 of them flies flying about. So he sends a couple of men in to catch them. They catch them really easily. They don't get their faces melted off. Maybe they don't eat organic things, because we'd learned that they're from a planet that didn't have very much organic matter, so they evolved to eat minerals, because we saw them giving them like rocks and bits of metal to eat, which maybe is why they went for Tootles, who's there, melted his face off and started eating him, because he's a robot, isn't he? So maybe that's why they didn't go for these chaps, because they're humans. But I don't know how that works, by the way, evolution. How can an organic life form evolve on a planet that doesn't have any organic life, or not much organic life? I've no idea. You'd have thought if there were not much, they'd just eaten themselves. But anyway, so they catch them really easily. They zap them with their cattle prod things and catch them in these things, and that's that basically. There we go. Dustpan and brush. Put it in there. How hard can it be? Danger, some sort of biohazard chemical in there. I wonder what's in there. Don't know. Is that telling us they're going to use that? Is that Chekhov's biohazard container? I don't know. Not for this episode, it ain't, as far as I can tell. There's Boy Cavalier watching on. He's allowed to come in eventually. It doesn't seem that bothered about poor Tootles, even though we learn that just one of these hybrids, because remember they are androids with the actual memories, or whatever you want to call it, of living people, so they call them hybrids. And we learn that each one costs $6 billion. I know this is in like $21.20, so maybe, I don't know what that'd be worth now. But he doesn't seem that bothered. Oh, he's watching the footage, by the way. But now he's realising that eyeball sheep is the real thing he's interested in. Wendy sees what's happened to Tootles. We learn that he can't, or they may not be able to revive Tootles, because he asks, does Boy Cavalier, he says, can we, have we got a backup of his memories? Can we stick him in another body? Words to that effect. And Kirsch says, it's experimental. We haven't had much success. So then he just says, oh, well, that's goodbye to $6 billion then. And that's all he says about it. Wendy's not happy. Or is she Marcy? I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, she's not happy about it. So she says, I'm going to warn the others. And he says to her, no, you can't. And they won't let her out. Some guards are blocking her way. Because we've got some security in this episode. So she just turns round and calls out. Here she goes. She calls out to the xenomorph, which is in another cell or whatever. I wanted her to whistle, because that's what I'm going to call this episode, Whistle and I'll Come to You, which is a bit of a deep cut if you're into ghost stories. But I wanted her to do, I like Windy Miller whistling for the wind. But she does that, and she makes the xenomorph bang its head against the thing. So they let her out then. Just cause for. We also see that Kirsch realises that the hybrid tracking has been disabled. So does he just re-enable it? I don't think he does. It just says it's been disabled, and they go, oh, okay. Why did he re-enable it again? I have no idea. Anyway, because remember Arthur did that in the last episode. Because they're supposed to be all escaping. Wendy and Joe are supposed to be escaping. Anyway, so there she is in her room with Joe. She's all upset. She says, we've got to get out of it, but she decides she's got to get the others out as well. So she goes to see Nibs, and Curly's with her. Remember, Curly, they wiped her memory, but maybe they didn't, because she was having like some sort of malfunction, or she was having some psychological problems. She said she was pregnant, and she was kind of going a bit doolally. Because remember, eyeball octopus tentacle thing tried to get her, freaked her out a bit. So they just wiped out that part of her memory. But then she says, my mind's still all there. I'm not sure, does that mean she still thinks she's whole, even though she's got a hole in her memory? I don't know. Or she got her memories, are they all there? They didn't wipe them. I've no idea. But she says, well, we're getting out of here. But Curly doesn't want to go. Curly says, this is the best place I've ever lived. So she says, well, promise me you won't tell on us. So she says, okay, I promise, because they're kids. So she takes Wendy away. She doesn't bother going looking. She doesn't say, where's Slightly and Smee. She never asks about them. She doesn't give a monkeys about Slightly and Smee, because as far as we know, she doesn't even go checking on them. She's just getting Wendy out and Joe. But before she goes to the security cameras, and she looks at the security lab. There you can see there's teams in now, basically cleaning up. Innocent workers, I would imagine they are. Lowest of the low. They don't really, maybe they don't know what they're doing. They're just cleaning up. There you can see there's the xenomorph that Wendy killed. Anyway, so they're going in, sorting stuff out. She wants a distraction, or they want a distraction so that they can escape. So what she does, she opens the xenomorph door. There you go. You see the red light come on there. She opens the door. The xenomorph gets out and kills everybody. There we go. We see it on the camera there. So she just murdered a room full of essentially innocent people. Are they innocent? Pretty much, yeah, I would say so. She didn't know them, did she? Did we see any of them picking on her? Did we see any evidence that they were bad people? No, she just murdered them all. Don't know how many were in there. A few, I don't know, but more than 3. So anyway, it's out there. Look, it's getting them all. Look, there we go. Anyway, Boy Cavalier goes to see Dame Sylvia. Again, still don't know. Is she a dame of the realm? I've no idea. Or is that just a name? She's saying, you know what's going. Did you know what Arthur was doing? I said, no, I don't know. They obviously know that Arthur has been got by a facehugger because Kirsch saw it on the security monitors, but they don't tell her. But anyway, I don't think they do anyway. But she says, I don't know anything about it, and that's the last we see of her. No, it didn't. I'm lying. We see her again later. Here we go. We see some security there. These two come out. Remember, these are super strong androids. Remember, was it the first episode? I think it was the first one. I think it was. Where we saw Wendy with all the kids before they got into their new bodies. All the kids hanging on her arms. And we learned, she's super strong. These android bodies are super strong. They can jump down from a cliff like 100 feet and land without leaving a ripple in the sand because you were on a beach. But they seem to be struggling carrying one man. Just shove him over. One of them could carry him over his shoulder. But anyway, whatever. Bad writing. And anyway, they're trying to find a way out, and they're looking to go another. They put him there, and then they look a different direction. Then Kirsch appears. I'm not sure what Kirsch's agenda is. I think it's supposed to be. It's the only thing that's mildly interesting, by the way, to me anyway, is that we're not sure what Kirsch's agenda is. Because he helps them here. He says, you don't want to go that way. You want to take this elevator and go press B7. So that's what they do. So he's helping them. Don't know why. There they go, so they take him. Anyway, so Joe, Wendy and Nibs. Nibs has got a little dolly, by the way, that she's very fond of. Are out, there we go, on the island. Where did all these skyscrapers come from? Have they always been there? I know we've seen wide shots of the island and never noticed skyscrapers. But anyway, maybe they were there. Anyway, they come across under this overhang here, they come across these graves. Come across their graves. Remember, there were kids that had life-threatening illnesses, so that's why they put their minds into robot bodies. Essentially, the families said okay, and I'm sure Prodigy, Boy Cavalier, paid them lots of money. Essentially, bought their kids off them, but they've buried them. So in these, I don't know, these weird gravestones with a red line on. That one's got a different coloured line for some reason, with their actual name, Marcy Hermit. So they've got graves. Why? Don't know. You'd have thought Boy Cavalier. I mean, why would Boy Cavalier go to all this trouble? Because we've seen he doesn't care about, human niceties or anything like that. You'd have thought he just said incinerate the bodies, wouldn't you? Because he's done with them now. He doesn't give a monkeys. Or maybe it was Dame Sylvia and Arthur that persuaded him to give him a, Christian burial. I have no idea. I don't know. But anyway, so they find their own graves. This kind of affects Nibs and Wendy a little bit as well. We get one of Noah Hawley's overlays. What's the? I can't remember the term. But anyway, what that happens, we're seeing her dead body being zipped up. Is she thinking of this? Did she have an out-of-body experience, or was she there in her robot body, seeing her real body being zipped up and sent off for burial? I don't know. But anyway, so they're still for some reason struggling with Arthur's body. And they hide because they see some soldiers coming, a patrol's coming, so they hide. The patrol goes by. Obviously, these Prodigy soldiers that they've got are like they're hopeless. They're hopeless. They don't have eyes or ears or anything. They don't see them or hear them. They don't have motion trackers that we've seen in the Alien franchise. But so they pop him down over here, out of shot, and they go hide there. And then the soldiers have passed. Suddenly, Arthur's disappeared. Like, where is he? And then they find the facehugger. Then facehugger just drops out of this tree. There we go. Much like in the first Alien, when it came off Kane, didn't it? And didn't die instantly. It must have climbed up into the pipework or something and then dropped down onto Ripley, didn't it? And this has done a similar thing. It's obviously got off Arthur, climbed up a tree, died, and then now it drops down on them. And he steps on it and squishes it. Remember, on death, their acid blood oxidizes, rendering it inert. So they said that in Aliens, didn't they? Would they remember that here? Probably not, I don't know. But anyway. But and then suddenly Arthur's there. He says, he's fine. What's happened? I don't remember anything. I don't know what's going on. So they lie to him and they say, we've got to evacuate. You don't remember the poison gas in the lab. We pulled you out of there. So you saved my life. So anyway, they said, we've got to get to the docks. That's where Dame Sylvia's waiting for you. So he says, okay, off we go. We all know what's going to happen. Anyway, don't know the passage of time. Don't know. How long was it between Kane's, the facehugger coming off Kane, and then them going to dinner? I think it were a while, because he were unconscious for a while, wasn't he? They all got on, went about their day on the ship, and then later on at some point, Ash said to him, you better come and check on Kane. So they went, and then they went to dinner, and then the chest burster came out of him, didn't it? Anyway, I don't know, but don't know how big this island is, to be honest. Anyway, so they're walking on this beach now, heading to the docks where the boats are, and his memory's coming back. He's remembering what's happening now. So he says, hang on, you two are lying to me. We've got to go back and I'll help you. And they both go, okay. So they both set off back with him. There you go. And then the chest burster decides to come out. There it is. It doesn't go, hello my baby, hello my darling, hello my sunshine, and then run off. It could have done. It'd have been better. But anyway, so they're all shocked, and it goes running off, or scurrying off, whatever, there, into the undergrowth. And where does it go after that? I don't know, but because there's a sheer cliff face there, but I'm sure it finds a way into the jungle on this island. They'll never find it. It's gone. Anyway, so he's like saying, oh no, I've lost it. Morrow said he'd be fine, and all that, and now they've lost the monster. So, and obviously Arthur's dead now. It'd be nice if they showed him twitching a bit. Does it show him twitching? No, he's just dead. I'd have had him twitching a bit, just for a bit of, shock value, but they don't. Anyway, so they drag him off. Meanwhile, back at Prodigy, Curly's fed up for some reason, even though she's been like the tough one of the group. She's been the one that's been most ambitious. She wanted to be Boy Cavalier's number 2 to take over from Wendy, and now she's all sad and she doesn't know what to do, so she needs a hug from Dame Sylvia, and that's it. That's the last we see of them in this episode. There we go. Dame Sylvia. Oh, she calls her mother or mummy or whatever. Mom, she says, I'm here. Whatever. Right. Anyway, meanwhile, somehow, Slightly and Smee have built a raft to put. Sorry, I can't help laughing. It's just stupid. To put Arthur's body on. How much time has passed? I don't know. But by the way, they were on I think they were on a timetable that to get to a certain place by a certain time to meet Morrow. I think that's what he said. So I don't know how long did it take them to build this raft out of bamboo. I didn't notice any bamboo growing on this. I'm sure there were loads of it. It's in the Far East, isn't it? So I'm sure there's loads of bamboo growing. But they must have had, I don't know, a machete or something with them. Because look at all these clean cuts on this bamboo. They didn't just go around breaking bamboo. Where'd they get all this twine from? I have no idea. But anyway, they've fashioned this working raft for his body. Why? Why are they taking his body? I don't know. But anyway, here it is. They're heading there. And then suddenly, up out of the water, come scary creatures, except they're not there. It's Morrow and his team with weird scuba gear on. So here they are. This is the Wayland Yutani team. And he says, oh, it's all gone wrong. And he says, why have you got an empty corpse for me? He says, it all went wrong. The thing came out of him and ran off into the jungle. He says, right, well, we'll have to go get it, won't we? So He says, tell me my family's okay. And he doesn't say that. So I'm thinking it's probably killed him anyway. Anyway, so off they go. And they just dump, I don't know why they do this. They just dump Arthur into the water. There we go, and just leave him. Why just leave him on the raft? I've no idea, because it's still floating about, isn't it? Still in the water, and then he sinks. There we go, goes down to the water. So maybe is that why? Just so he'd sink. I wonder how they did this. Hang on, does his eyes closed there? Yes, they do, don't they? Look like his eyes closed. His eyes were open all this time before he goes under. And I'm thinking, did the CG's eyes to stay open? Because you wouldn't be able to keep your eyes open, would you? Going underwater. But as he goes down, I'm sure his eyes closed. Did they? Or was it just an effect, I don't know, of the water? Meanwhile, there we go, Eyeball Sheep is watching them. He's all interested now. He's Boy Cavalier in Eyeball Sheep. Atomines, Eddie Hitler from bottom. The great Adrian Edmondson. Unfortunately, he's been in some bad sci-fi, hasn't he? He was in Last Jedi, wasn't he? And he's been in this. Come on, Adrian. Pick some better stuff to be in. Anyway, he's interested, and he wants to know if he can communicate with the eyeball alien that's in the sheep, because he's realised it's intelligent. So he gets a pen, and he shows, there we go, gets a pen, and he writes on his hand, there we go, 3.14. It says, this is pi, you should know what this is. How would it know what that is? It's in the Arabic numbers. So if it's an alien, how would it know what that means? It wouldn't it? It just wouldn't know what that means. Unless, when the eyeball alien goes into different creatures, it absorbs their memories. So does it have the memories of the engineer from the Maginot, Tyres from Spaced, that fella, Michael Smiley? Does it have his memories? He'd obviously know what pi is, being an engineer and that. Well, you'd think so, even though they're all idiots on that ship. But so is that how it knows? We'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say yes. But anyway, it says, what are the next three numbers? Yeah, because it's 3.14, 27. But we don't need that. We just need the next three. So it says, what are the next three numbers? What's the next number? It stomps 1, and then it stomps 5. 1, 4, 1, 5. Yes, then it stomps 5 times, and then it says, okay, what's the next number? And then it just has a poo, and I don't understand, because it'd be 9, wouldn't it? It poos, which is not sheep poo. I don't know much about sheep. I thought sheep pooed like pellets. Like little round things. Because you see them, when you're out walking in fields and stuff, you see like sheep poo, and it's like little pellets, isn't it? It's not like cow pats, is it? Or maybe it's different for different sheep. I don't know. I don't know anything about sheep. Anyway, it has a poo. And then it starts bleating a lot. So I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to say. I thought it was going to go 9. I honestly did, but it didn't. But anyway, he's impressed. So he's think. Right, we've got to get this eyeball. He says, I wish I could speak to you, and wish you could speak back. I wish we could have a conversation, basically. He says, we've got to get this eyeball into somebody that can speak back. He says, pick the lowest of the low, a scrubber from, maintenance or whatever. So he says, okay, I'll make a list. And then he says, oh no, I know what we'll do. And then we don't know what he does. So I'm thinking he's going to use Atomines. If Atomines is human, I was thinking maybe he was an android, like Kirsch, but I'm not sure. So I'm wondering if next episode, the finale, we're going to see Atomines with a massive eyeball. I'm guessing, but anyway, that's the last we see of that today. Anyway, so they're still heading for the docks. They come across all this equipment, by the way, that's all overgrown, suggesting that there's been something down the island for quite a while. I don't know what, but like I said, there's some equipment there. Kind of reminded me of Jurassic Park. When they went in, I think it was Jurassic Park 3, when they went to, the old labs and stuff from InGen, and again in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, when they went back to Isla Nublar and went back to the old They did it in Jurassic World as well, didn't they? They found the old stuff that were there before. It just reminded me of that. Anyway, she suddenly gets a sense somebody's coming. So she's like, ooh. She don't go like, oh, whatever. She don't do hand signals. But she says, somebody's coming. And suddenly loads of soldiers appear. Any minute now. There we go. These are Prodigy soldiers, I think. Are they? Or are these the Weyland-Yutani lot? I don't know. I've lost track, actually. These are either the Weyland-Yutani lot or they are Prodigy things. I think the Weyland-Yutani ones, I think. But I could be wrong. Anyway, so she calls. Oh, by the way, Nibs goes at them. I don't know why. Maybe she thinks she's Nog from Deep Space Nine. But she hisses at them for some bizarre reason. But Wendy just goes... She doesn't. She does a noise, but whistle and I'll come to you. And here it comes. It comes as the alien. Here it comes out of the trees. It were up in the trees. So it gets them. Takes them all out, even though they've got pulse rifles, and it's either taking them out like that or getting them with its tail. Thusly. And it just kills them all. So this is the second time today she's had her pet alien killing people for her, because it just comes up to her now. Because it's not a huge one, is it? I don't think it's as big as the alien from Alien or Aliens. They're them. So is it like not fully grown? Is it going to shed its skin again and get bigger? I don't know. But as we see, it's not getting them. Not getting them. And it's not icky enough, is it? It's too dry, this alien. But anyway. There we see it's got blood on its chops. So she just wipes it off. He says, "Oh, you're my pet. I love you. Oh, aren't you gorgeous?" And makes the noises again. Like that. And off it goes back into the jungle. And he says, "What did you say to it?" And she said, "Hide and follow." And then she goes, "I think." Anyway, so off they go. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the island, we see the little chest burster, probably looking for somewhere, to hide up and shed its skin and become a drone, whatever, and a xenomorph. But it doesn't get a chance because somehow, there we go, it gets caught in a net. And then, who's caught it? Or was it just a trap that were there? I don't know. But it seemed to come from above, did that net? So it looks like somebody's chucked it at this chest burst. So somebody's caught it. I wonder who. Oh, there we go. We saw the lights turn from red to green. So it is got. Who caught it? Who knows? But we thought, how did they know it were there? I have no idea. But maybe they can track them. Anyway, alright, yes. So we're back with the Weyland-Yutani lot and Slightly and Smee, and they find this old facility. Never been mentioned that there's old facilities on this island. There's none of this. Don't go to that part of the island because there's, the old Prodigy base that's defunct now, and it's dangerous. So don't go there. Never been told that. It's just there, and that's where they're going for some reason. Or maybe it's just a back door into the main Prodigy base. I have no idea. I don't know. But anyway, they come in, and then they instantly get caught. There we go. They get captured by Kirsch and Prodigy soldiers. And he says, you're caught. Right, and he comes out with Kirsch comes out with the chest burster. He's got it in one of them containers. And I thought he was going to hand it over to him. I genuinely did. I thought he was going to say, here's what you came for. Now go. He don't. He just captures them. He says, take them. And he tells the two lads, you're grounded. So they're grounded, and Morrow and his gang are captured. Why didn't they just kill them? I don't know. Maybe he didn't have orders to kill them. I don't think he's had any orders at all, to be completely honest. I think he's operating off the top of his head, is Kirsch, isn't he? Anywho, here we go. Our main group arrive at the docks. You can tell it's at the docks because there's containers and stuff. She's playing with her doll. Anyway, they arrive at a boat. There's a boat, slightly futuristic looking boat-ish, maybe. But he says, Arthur gave me the code for it, so obviously he needs a code. And they get on the boat, but it's a trap. There we go. And there's Prodigy soldiers there. I think these are the ones that, because Joe's troop. Remember, Joe was a medic, in this security squad of soldiers that first went into the Maginot when it crashed in New Siam, and now they're working on the island. So they're being captured by them and these other fellas who are all pointing guns at them. Anyway, one of them, this fella here, is not very nice, and he takes Nibs's dolly off her and throws it overboard. And there we go. And she grabs hold of him and rips his jaw off. Nobody does anything. Everybody's just standing about looking. Everybody on the side is just standing about looking. But I think they do shoot her. It knocks him about. But eventually they do shoot her, but that doesn't stop her. They're all fighting away. And she gets her and gonna kill her. But Joe zaps her. Apparently these pulse rifles have a zapping thing as well. He zaps Nibs with the zappy thing. The stun thing. And you're supposed to think he's killed her because she's like giving it all that look. And the reaction from Wendy is that you've killed her. And I thought, well, maybe it just zapped her. She's just shut down. I don't know. But she's freaking out, is Wendy, for some reason. By the way, none of the other soldiers were doing anything. They all had the guns pointed at them, and they didn't do anything. While all this were going on, people get the jaws ripped off and other people getting thrown up and down. Nobody, shot anybody. And maybe they thought, all they had to do, you can think, maybe because they didn't have a clear line of sight or clear shot or anything, they could have had one of them saying, I haven't got the shot, they're moving about too much, I might get one of ours. Didn't bother saying any of that. Anyway, so they get are they caught? I don't know, because she leans over, Wendy leans over Joe and just screams at him, what have you done? He shot Nibs because Nibs just ripped somebody's jaw out and we're about to kill somebody else. She's screaming, what have you done? Meanwhile, her actions, she hasn't done it herself, but she's had the alien, the xenomorph, kill God knows how many people in this episode alone. So, I don't know. And that is the end of the episode. There we go. That is the end of that episode. So, and a terrible episode. Even, again, like last week, I think I said it last week. For last week's terrible episode, even though a lot happened in it, it was just stupid. It was just stupid. Terribly written. Why can't they write good stuff these days? I know some writers can write good stuff these days, but when it comes to genre efforts, science fiction, some horror or sci-fi horror such as this, they can't seem to get it right, can they? They don't know how to write good science fiction, and they're just taking shortcuts and are just thinking nobody'll notice, but we're all noticing. Anyway, so there we go. So that's the end of episode 7 of Alien Earth. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. How much score shall I give this one? I can't remember what I gave last week's. This one, it was entertaining. I didn't hate this episode, even though my eyes were rolling. It was stupid, and I did laugh out loud more than once, particularly with the raft. I don't know why I found that so funny. They just made a raft. I just thought it was hilarious. I don't know, 5. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 for the raft. The raft gets 5 from me. And I'm more interested now in what Kersh's up to. He's got his own agenda, and I want to know what Kersh's up to. But anyway, so one more episode to go. I'm sure it'll end terribly. I think it's going to end on a cliffhanger. I don't think the island's going to get blown up by Weyland-Yutani. I think it's going to end on a cliffhanger, and because I think they're wanting a season 2. Are they going to get a season 2? I have no idea. But I don't think one's been announced. Let me check. See if one's been. I haven't seen any news about it being. They might be waiting. Right, so I've just checked, and it says Noah Hawley is in talks with Fox or Disney or whatever, or FX, whoever he's got to talk to, about season 2. It's in development, and he's wanting to streamline it so we don't have to wait 3, 4 or 5 years. So but there's been no official announcement that it has been greenlit. But Noah Hawley wants a season 2 to happen, so I'm thinking We're going to end on a cliffhanger. The island's not going to get blown up. We're not going to get cannon tidied up. I don't think a Yorkshire ship is going to descend from the sky, nab all the creatures, and then blow the island up. Even though that'd be cool, wouldn't it? I don't think that's going to happen. No, but anyway. Right, one more episode to go next week, and then we can all relax for at least 2 years if season 2 gets made. Right, so we'll leave it there. As I said, 5 out of 10. Terrible episode again, but fun. I don't know. In a bad way, a guilty pleasure sort of way. I don't know, but anyway. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll say we're here to review live for the finale, the final episode of season 1. I'm presuming there'll be a season 2. We will see. I don't know. I think there will, because I think it's done quite well on Disney Plus. But anyway, and Hulu. Season 1 of Alien Earth. This one's called The Real Monsters. I wonder what they're going with there. What are obviously the aliens, the xenomorphs or whatever, aren't the real monsters, are they? Not according to this show. But anyway, we're going to do that. Anyway, we're live. On YouTube, I hope. Let me check. Yes, we're live on YouTube. And we should be live on Twitch as well. Yes, we are. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. Not live on Rumble tonight. Pardon me, just because I haven't reviewed I haven't put any of the other reviews of Alien Earth, on Rumble. So I thought, what's the point? I may do I may stick them all together and upload them to Rumble that way. But anyway. So we're going to be reviewing that. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch. Can you see? There we go. Merch. And my books, they're under there. Amazon Kindle and paperback, give them a whirl. What else? My websites, mercuryrapids.co.uk, that oldyorkshiregeek.co.uk. What else? My other channels, my music channel, and my backup. It's not really a backup, it's just another channel. It's actually the channel, not the original. My original YouTube channel got taken down, and I genuinely can't remember why. It was probably some copyright thing. It was a long time ago. But then I set up another one, and it was just for stuff like, miscellaneous things, wrestling videos. I used to go watch, local wrestling a lot on video and stuff like that, and other things. And what else? And other things. Become a member and you get exclusive videos and early access videos. And if you're a subscriber for more than a day, you can join in the live chat. Such as Win Grace, who is a member as well. Says, I keep forgetting about this show. I believe you mean Alien Earth and not my show. But it is quite forgettable, to be honest. It's not the best show ever made. In fact, it's pretty rubbish. But it looks nice for the most part. The sets are the best thing about this show, to be honest. And maybe a couple of the performances. But the scripts are diabolically bad, in my opinion. But anyway, so we're going to go through it. We're going to break it down. I'll give you my thoughts on it as we go. It's one of the shorter episodes. I don't know what the run times are for each episode, so let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what... I will just type in Alien Earth episode run times. I can type all that in without making a mistake. Right, here we go. Good old AI. Right, episode 1, Neverland, 63 minutes. Episode 2, Mr. October, 55. Then 54, then 58. Come on, where's the rest of them? I'm going to have to find another one. Here we go. Episode 4, 59 minutes. Episode 5, 64 minutes. Episode 6, 57 minutes. Episode 7, 44 minutes. Episode 8, 47 minutes. I thought this seemed shorter. But it's not the shortest. It's the second shortest episode of the season. Which is weird because it's a finale. I would expect it being longer. I was expecting it being over an hour, but it's not. But anyway. And spoilers, nothing is resolved in this episode. I were hoping the island were going to get blown up, or Yorkshire ships were going to descend and take the alien specimens away and destroy the island or whatever. None of that happens. I'm just letting you know that before we get into it. Right, so we will get into it. I shall begin. Can you see me cat again? You can just make her out there. She's there on my flag again, on my Yorkshire flag. It's a little sod she is. I put my bookcase up, by the way, down. You can't see it; it's off camera. But I got a bookcase about, I don't know, several months ago. But it's been too hot in the UK to be doing things like that. You know, sweating as you're putting bookcases up. And the weather's finally, because it's autumn now, and the temperatures have just plummeted. It's very autumnal now. So I did that yesterday. So I've got a new bookcase over there, all nice with all me games and me Blu-rays and stuff. So I've got more space, and I'll soon fill them up, I imagine. And I'll have to get another bookcase, and I don't know where I'm going to put it. I've got an old bookcase in there that were there, a smaller one, and I don't know where to put it. And my son's just saying, "Get rid of it, throw it out." I said, I'm a hoarder. I can't throw anything out. But anyway, right. Well, that's enough of that. I'm waffling tonight, aren't I? I just don't want to get into this episode. Right, so we will get into it. I shall pop myself down here and we shall begin. I picked the wrong one. There we go. That'll do. Right, so add it to the screen. Add to stage. There we go. We'll have it like that. Right, off we go. There we go. Good old FX. I watched it this morning. I've only watched the episode once, by the way. I didn't take any notes. I've probably forgotten what happened. I remember, mental notes were going on in my head, thinking, mention that in your review. I was expecting to do a regular review, by the way, this morning when I watched it. Either I'm going to just write out a review, which are usually the shortest ones, aren't they? Or I was going to do, like what I'm doing now, but not live. And then I thought, sod it, I'll just do a live one. Anyway, FX presents. Here we go. Oh, we get the usual. The title sequence is the previously on Alien Earth. So that's what's happening here. We're seeing that's the dead alien, isn't it? I think that she killed in an earlier episode, or the second episode, the third one. I can't remember. But there we go. We're seeing the. Oh look, there's Xenomorph getting some. The bulletproof Xenomorph. I don't know how to pronounce it. But distorted vocalising. I'm just waiting for the title to come on. Oh, I remember poor old Dr. Sylvia got a chest burster coming out of him. But don't despair. It's not the last we're going to see of him. Anyway. She ripped somebody's jaw off, did Nibs. And then, there we go, she got zapped for that. She actually got shot a few times as well. Straight in the body. But remember, she's a robot. Didn't see any milk flying out. So maybe these hybrids don't have the milk that we do see later on from another one. Anyway, there we go. Alien Earth. I bet it's got the music going, hasn't it? Anyway, right, so off we go. As I said, we're going to see Dr. Sylvia again on the beach. The tide goes out a long way on this island, doesn't it? Or is it a chain of islands, or is it in like a bay? I don't know, but I don't know where it was filmed. I'm going to check that now. The joys of live stuff. I just go off on a tangent, don't I? Where was Alien Earth filmed? Question mark. Not that you need to put punctuation in Google searches, but... Alien Earth was filmed entirely in Thailand. Oh, there we go. Utilising both modern studio facilities and real-world locations such as Bangkok, Krabi Province and the Phang Nga Bay. The production used Bangkok for its urban landscapes and futuristic buildings. I've never been to... I don't even know what Bangkok looks like. All I know about Bangkok is Murray Head performed a song about it, didn't he? One Night in Bangkok. While the natural beauty of Krabi's beaches, jungles and mountains provided additional backdrops for the series. So there we go. So this is Thailand that we're in. And it is supposed to be in the Far East, isn't it? Somewhere. So, because the city is New Siam. And Siam was Siam the old name for Thailand, or did it become Burma? Can't remember. Or did Burma become Thailand? I don't know. Anyway, Dr. Sylvia's on the beach there. He is being dead. Got a crab feeding on his... Actually, it didn't come out of his chest, did it? I'm sure it did in the episode. I'm sure it came up high. It usually come out higher up, don't they? Like on my picture. This one seems to have come out of his belly, doesn't it? Underneath his rib cage. Anyway, he's quite dead with a crab. But somebody's going to come and have a look at him in a minute. There it is. There's the xenomorph. Who just looks like a fella in a suit. I know it is. I know the original one. They've all been fellas in suits. For some reason, this show, it looks particularly like a fella in a suit. But never mind. Whatever. It is what it is. And it's just having a good old look at him for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe it's thinking, or maybe it's thinking I've got to find my little cousin or whatever. Because there's another one. The one that came out of Dr. Sylvia, Arthur, were captured by Kirsch, Timothy Oliphant's character, were captured by him. So I'm thinking it's probably going to go and look for him. Let me get some shots of the island, the xenomorph going through the brush. There we go. Looks a bit poo, doesn't it? I don't know. It's too bright. There's too much brightness showing this xenomorph off. They've got to be in shadows and stuff, aren't they? And jumping out at their prey and all that, and be all slimy and icky. But they're not in this show for some reason. Anyway, right, so we're at the graves of the hybrids. Remember the hybrids? Wendy and Tootles, who is no longer with us. And I've got to remember the names now. Nibs, Smee, who's named after one of Hook's first mate for some reason. Who else is there? Curly. Probably missing out somebody. Is that it? Well, they're just 5. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I'm sure I am. Oh, yes, and slightly as well. Yes, because there's 6 graves. Hang on, that was just 5. Was it 6? I forgot again. Wendy. Right, so we'll go Wendy, Nibs, Curly, Smee, Slightly. I'm missing one out. Who's the other one? And Tootles. There we go, Tootles. Anyway, this is Dr. Dame Sylvia. Again, I don't know if she's a dame of the realm or if that's just her name. I have no idea. But Dame Sylvia coming to the graves and putting flowers on them. There we go. Dame Sylvia sighs as she puts flowers on each grave. And I said last time, when we first saw these graves in the previous episode, I don't know why they've got these different colour stripes on, no idea. But I'm thinking, I bet it were Dame Sylvia and Arthur that persuaded Boy Cavalier to bury the young uns in these places. Because I bet he just wanted to incinerate them or whatever. They were done with the bodies. Because they had their minds or whatever transferred into android bodies. So adult android bodies. So there were kids ranging from 11 years old, 12 years old, up to about 16ish or thereabouts. But anyway, maybe. Right, so I probably got that wrong. So there she's feeling all sad, but the xenomorph's going to come up behind her. Is it going to get her? I don't know. We hear the creature growling. She looks surprised, and there we go. There it is. So it's nicely drooling there. So fair enough. Props for that. But then gunshot, and I'm not sure where the gunshot comes from. See if we can. Let me just see. A puff of smoke. As I said, it's a bulletproof xenomorph. They've shot at it loads of times, and it's never had any injuries. We've never seen any acid blood flying about, and we didn't do here either. So it goes running off. It seemed to get a shot from the front, didn't it? But then all these guys appear. If we're going to show them, there we go. From behind where the xenomorph was. Maybe they had those bullets that go round corners. Maybe had one of them guns from The Fifth Element. Oh, excuse me. I'm burping. Anyway, the security team are here. We see that they've got. Or have they got them? They should have Wendy, and or have they dropped them off? I don't know. But this is the team that captured Wendy and her brother Joe as they tried to escape. And that's when Nibs went and ripped somebody's jaw off, killed one of their team, and that's when she got shot. I think they've dropped them off back at base by this time. They've gone back out looking for people. Because we learn later that they're evacuating the island of non-essential personnel. We see the xenomorph running about, ripping people up. We're going to see it running across there. Or there we go. There we go. We saw it then, didn't we? Loads of blood up and down. Because it's just killing people randomly. Don't know what's happening there. What's happening there? Why is the smoke coming out of that sea there? I don't know. What's going on? There's just smoke coming out of the sea there, and I don't know why. Josh says, welcome Josh, I was just watching this, but never fear, Maddie's here, harpoon at the ready. Be careful though with xenomorphs, because don't want acid blood spraying about if you find your harpoon willy-nilly. Anyway, that's the boat that we're going to escape on. It's just showing it. I don't know why there's all this steam in the water. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, hang on, maybe this is because he said we think the cyborg cut the underwater trunk line, so maybe that's that. Maybe he went under water and cut the line with, I don't know, explosives or something hot, and it's making the water steam. Maybe that's just a depiction of that. I don't know. The cyborg is Morrow. Remember, he were on the whatever they're called, the Maginot, the USCSS or whatever it is, Maginot, that crashed into New Siam, which we learned were like an inside job somehow, because it had been on its mission for 65 years. I don't understand that. Unless, by this time, I don't think they've got faster than light travel. Because we were told in the previous episode that Nibs may one day invent faster than light travel. So if they haven't got faster than light travel, it'll take them a long time to get to other stars, won't it? So maybe they can get pretty close. So maybe from the point of view from Earth, it's taking them 65 years to go to these different planets. How far is Zeta 2 Reticuli from Earth? I think it's like, is it 39 light years or something like that? It could be, if I'm remembering properly. So maybe that's the reason. But because of time dilation, the people on the ship, if it's travelling close to the speed of light, it wouldn't take that long. So, but they were still going in the freezers, weren't they? But maybe it didn't seem like 65 years to them. Anyway, where were we? Atomites, by the way, giving us telling us, bringing us up to date on what's going on. There's Boy Cavalier. There's terrible names in this series, by the way. We learned that they've put the hybrids in a holding cell. So they don't know how long it'll hold, and we learned that I think they could just get out any time they wanted to. They just break out, or Wendy'll do her magic because she's the Mary Sue. She's the Ray of this series. She could do anything. She's the key to everything, etc. And we learn that Joe and Morrow have been put in another cell that looks pretty much the same. Anyway, he's a bit fed up now, his Boy Cavalier, because it's kind of all going wrong for him. The other creatures are contained. This is from the fly things that eat metal and minerals. They have like acid spit. They're the ones that kill Tootles. Why don't they just eat their way out of their cage? Maybe they can't, I don't know. But and as you see, he's got eyeball sheep in a box in his office with a security guard. Last episode is that we were thinking he couldn't communicate with the sheep because it's an intelligent alien. The eyeball is an alien called, I can't remember, and it's gone into the sheep, and we learn that it's intelligent and it knows pi. It can read pi in Arabic numbers. But anyway, he's got it in here, and they were trying to find out a way to get it into a human, and Atomine said, I'll make up a list, and then Boy Cavalier says, hang on, I've had an idea, and I suggested maybe we're going to put him into Atomites, but we learn that that's not possible. So I was wrong there. Other people are saying they're going to put it into Dame Sylvia, and some suggested Joe, but anyway. It turns out we're going to put him into, we're going to get Joe and put the eyeball into Joe, so he could communicate with it. He's looking at his monitors, and he's looking at he's reminiscing about Wendy becoming a hybrid. But anyway, we also learned, by the way, that Boy Cavalier has ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and he's on medication, because medication is mentioned. So God knows how he became a trillionaire. I know this. He says he's a genius and stuff, and that he made his first synth when he was 6. He's bleeding. He's Anakin Skywalker, isn't he? Probably explains why she's Rey. Anyway, he was thinking back, because he shot. Remember, it was Joe that zapped Nibs after she ripped that fella's jaw off, and she were about to kill another one of his friends in that security group. So he zapped her with the zapper that's on the pulse rifles. Don't see the zappers in the future, do we? But they must have taken them off. And then she screamed, "What did you do?" Meanwhile, she's been killing people left, right and centre. Not herself, but she's in communications with the xenomorph. She can talk to it and tell it what to do. And so she's been having it kill people. And as Gary from Nerdrotic says in his review, she's got the biggest body count of anybody in the show. But anyway. Right, so they're accusing Curly of snitching, because they don't, she was kind of set up earlier on as to be like one of the a kind of a bad guy. She was wanting to get into Boy Cavalier's favours. She wants to take over from Wendy as the favourite of Boy Cavalier. So they're accusing her of telling the security where they were going. But she's apparently she's all nice now, and she's one of them. But anyway. So they've got to wonder what to do. But she's saying we were scared of them, but they should be scared of us. I don't know why they should be scared of them. Never mentioned that they were scared of humans. But anyway, by the way, Nibs is fine. She got shot several times in the previous episode with a gun, bullets, and she got zapped, but she's fine. So what was she screaming? What did you do for? If Nibs is fine. Anyway, by the way, that's Wendy, aka Marcy. That's Nibs. That's me the real names. That's Curly. She's called Jane. I don't know Nibs' real name. That's Slightly. I can never remember his actual name, and that's Smee. And I think he was Christopher. I don't know. We learned that Tootles were called Isaac, but his real name was something else. I think Steve. I think they said something like that. I thought, well, what do they call him Isaac for? I'm confused. Anyway, I've gone full screen. There we go. I think they should be afraid of us. I think they are already, love. But then she keeps looking into the camera. By the way, his room kind of looks like a TARDIS, doesn't it? The classic TARDIS from Doctor Who, for some reason. Is that deliberate? Probably. Anywho. Right. She's also in communication with the xenomorph somehow. I don't know how. She keeps doing her noises. Like that. To communicate. But it's miles away. It's somewhere else on the island. So, has it just got really good hearing? Or is she some sort of psychic connection? I don't know how robots can be psychic. Although they are in the black hole, aren't they? That just popped in my head. But I don't know. But she's in communication with it. Maybe is she saying, come here and save us? I don't know. It's still on his computers. Kirsch gives an update. We've got a new xenomorph that's obviously growing slightly. It's got its legs and stuff now. It's getting bigger. Now, she's... remember, she can control electronics and stuff. Just by a wave of her hand. So she's doing that now. and she's going to start taking over. He's still wanting to communicate with this sheep because he's watching him. Oh dear. Now what's happening? Is this where are they bringing Dame Sylvia in? Yes. The security squad are bringing Dame Sylvia in. I think she's Siberian. It says the Siberian clip. I think that's her. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know which is which. But they're bringing Dame Sylvia in. They tell her to stay there. And so she does for a while. Yes. Wendy's in controlling this tablet or whatever it is, and she's replaying her. That's before she died. Wendy. She was called Marcy then. Marcy. I forgot the bloody name now. Hermit. Marcy Hermit. I'm trying to think of crabs. I'm thinking of the crabs that we saw at the beginning. I'm thinking hermit crab. She was called Marcy Hermit. And she's like asking questions like, we'll be okay, won't we? And she's going, won't we? Won't we? Proper acting. And she just smashes it up for some reason because, I don't know, she must feel guilty about what she's done to these poor kids who were dying anyway. Anyway, there we see Morrow is being beaten up apparently by the security guards. He's all swollen and stuff. And they've put his cyborg arm in a big, massive metal thing that is probably more of a weapon than his actual cyborg arm. Well, it is because we'll see later. So anyway. So, there we go. He's getting to know Joe a bit. Meanwhile, they're still on their sweep of the base, looking for survivors or whatever. And they want to get to the armory, but they never seem to get there. Or maybe they do, I don't know. But we never see them get to the armory. But they're going into this elevator that opens by itself. So they go in. But then the elevator suddenly has a self-destruct. Is that a thing with elevators? Built-in self-destruct. But we learn it's just Marcy, Wendy, what do you want to call it, messing about with them. I don't know if this is actually a self-destruct, but they're panicking. And they escape. They start escaping, but then it stops. She stops messing with them, and they just go on their merry way. Anyway, so she's going through all, trying to do her stuff. Joe's thinking about Marcy, his sister, from before she died, because he thought she died of a illness that she'd had. I think it was like cancer or something. So he's thinking of the letters he used to get from her before she died, because he was in the military. He's a medic in that squad, and he used to go off, doing missions and stuff. Even though he was a bit of a wimp. I know he's a medic, but he's not very soldiery. But anyway, so he's in there crying, thinking of his sister. And his dad, who just happens to be played by Noah Hawley, self-insert there. But anyway, and for some reason, I don't know, why does Marcy, I'm presumably supposed to be Marcy / Wendy, before she were ill, why does she look like Nibs? I don't know, she just does. Anyway, right, so he's saying to the guard, and I've got to go and to the toilet, but Wendy opens the door. We see it in a minute, actually. She actually opened it before, I think. Where is it? Where's it doing it? There we go. We just see the door open, I think. I've missed it again, haven't I? Wendy opened the door, and I was like thinking, why does she do it for her own cell? She's opening other people's cells. Why does she do it for herself? Anyway, he gets to the door, kills this guard, just beats him to death. Well, he's going to beat him to death, but Joe stops him. But he probably just carries on. Gets the key, takes off his thing that's a pretty good weapon, because it beat up that, but anyway. And takes his weapon, and now he's going for revenge, and Joe's going to get Marcy. Meanwhile, Kirsch is in the lab doing his stuff. I don't know who that is. Is that just one of the dead scientists? I have no idea. Loads of people died in the previous episode in this lab. So are they just all still there? But anyway, We're going to see these turn into red splotches in a minute. I didn't actually notice this earlier on, but I noticed in a minute there's going to be red splotches there, and I didn't actually see it happen first time I watched it. So let's see what happens. As Kirsch works away, maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe when we go back, because we've panned and now we're going to pan back. Yes, they've turned into red splotches now. So this is Morrow who's arriving. He's taking out them 2 guards, and he comes in, tries to sneak up on Kirsch, but Kirsch is ready, and he turns round and shoots him and misses. Look, gunshot and misses. So they're going to fight now for a bit. There we go. So they're fighting. Look, he gets milk coming, so he's injured. Kirsch gets his back broken, so he can't walk anymore, but still carries on fighting. And he ends up getting Morrow, even though he can't move hardly, he ends up getting Morrow in a sleeper hold and knocks him out but doesn't kill him. She's still talking to the xenomorph. I think she actually frees another one of the aliens. I think it's the plant alien. The one that we saw in earlier episodes that's like dangling from the ceiling. It's got like a tongue that comes out, and but it's like, I don't know, it can move about. I don't know what it is, but that's got out as well. So anyway, so Boy Cavalier goes to see the hybrids, and he's saying, but play nice, you're just ruining everything. But then she snaps her fingers and the door opens, so like, all right, she could have done it any time. She was just waiting for the right moment, for dramatic effect, to open the door. So rather than him running for his life, he just goes in. And that's where he tells a bit of his life story, that his dad was a drunk and he was a rubbish dad. And so when he was 6, he built his first synth. And I wondered if it were Atomites. I don't know. I get that feeling. But anyway, and then he had the synth kill his dad. And then somehow he went on to become the head of Prodigy, which rules like 1/5 of the world or whatever. But it suggested that he used his synth to build his empire, if you know what I mean. So, nobody would take orders from like a kid. But I don't know. There we go. No one's going to give a 6-year-old his own empire. So, what does he say? I just made myself a figurehead. Anyway, so he's talking to them, and but they're going to get out because Nibs kills this guy, just beats him to a pulp. Here she goes. Everybody's a really bad shot in this episode. None of the shots ever hit anything, apart from the wall. But he goes running off. So, right, so, they're free now. She sends them all off to do things. I can't remember what she tells them to do, so let's check. Got to play hide and seek. Right, hang on, where are we? Nibs, you find Sylvia. I'll take care of Boy K. Smee slightly. You find Kirsch and the cyborg. And Curly says, my name's Jane. You get the soldiers. Jane. So she's on their side now, even though she wasn't last episode. And then they've all gone. And then she says, nobody touches my brother. And I'm like watching thinking, they've gone now. You're talking to yourself, love. Anyway. So Joe gets to, I think this is Wendy's quarters. Joe's arrived there and finds Atomites, Eddie Hitler from Bottom, Adrian Edmondson. I must admit, he's one of the highlights of this series. Adrian Edmondson, the fellow that plays Morrow, Babu, not Babu Freak, I can't remember his name, Babu something or other, and Timothy Oliphant. They're the 3 best characters. But anyway, so he says he's been sent to find him. Boy Cavalier wants to talk to him, and he's got another offer for him, and he's take you to him and his sister. That's what he says. So he says, come on, off we go, chop chop. There we go. But it's all obviously a ruse because he wants him to get the eyeball alien into Joe. Right, so yes, the xenomorph has arrived. in the facility. You can see he's going to drag somebody off in a minute. There we go. He drags that body off. Meanwhile, these are the security people. Do they shoot at it? I don't know. Don't know what happens. Oh, do they? Yeah, they just see it there. Are they going to shoot at it? God knows. No, we don't know. Oh, yes, soldiers screaming gunshots. It's there. Oh, dear. So they're probably dead. As I said, it's bulletproof. It's bulletproof as this alien. Meanwhile, Dame Sylvia's just staring out the window. Smee and Slightly arrive at in the lab, and Kirsch says, "Where were you 10 minutes ago?" So he says, hands him a cord, says, "Tie him up," as in tie up Morrow. But they don't. I think they tie up both of them because they're not with him anymore. They're for themselves, so they tie up both of them. Meanwhile, Joe takes. Atomites takes Joe to the office and he shuts him in. He says, "I'll give you some privacy," shuts him in, but we see that the door's open so that the eyeball sheep's out. There we go. And, and then it comes out of the sheep. Obviously it wants to go into a human, which it has done before, by the way. Remember on the Maginot, it got inside Michael Smiley's character, the engineer fella. So maybe that's how it knew Pi. I don't know, but anyway, off it goes. It's trying to get him, but he hides. He jumps into the box, and but then he jumps back out for some reason, and he's trying to get it. He gets knocked about a bit, by the way. It's resilient, is this little bugger. He does get knocked about a bit because Wendy arrives and saves him. But Atomites comes and they're going to have a fight now because this is where we learn that Atomites is a synth. And is he the original synth? Is the one that Boy Cavalier built when he was 6? I don't know. But because we see, look, where does it say? It says something to her. Where is it? No, I've gone too far. What does he say? Oh, whatever. Told him it was a waste of technology, as in making the hybrids. But he's still a child at heart. So that makes me think, was he the original one? Is he the original synth? But anyway, see, good old eyeball alien still knocking about. It escapes. It goes down like a drain and gets outside. Anyway, so he's going to get her, but she goes, "Stop," because she's magic. She's magic, is Wendy. Obviously, he's knocked out, by the way. He's Joe. He's always getting knocked out. And she just stops him with the power of her mind. Stop. And he can't move, apart from his eyes. He's out there. Oh, look, I can't move. He's thinking. Rick Mail should run in now with a frying pan and go, doing, hit him. But you don't get to hurt us anymore. Anyway, Joe comes round and she says because he's part of the network, he's connected to the mainframe and the network and all that stuff, so I can control him, just like the other stuff. Anyway, he's apologising for what he did to Nibs. She was going to kill people. She killed one person, she was going to kill somebody else. Don't be sorry. Anyway, but she's getting on a high horse. She's supposed to be the main character, but she's totally unlikable. Maybe she should call me It. And he's trying to he's doing his best, is Joe, to explain stuff to her. I suppose, remember, she's a kid, essentially. She's got an adult body, but she's a kid. Anyway, but even though she says that, but she's acting like one. Anywho, so they're going to leave. She just pushes him over. Boom. But he's still moving his eyes. Are we going to see him again? I think we will. Right, so we get this bit with these flashing lights that are doing me head in. Oh, look, he's got himself a what do you call it? A bulletproof vest on. Did he have that on before? I don't know. But you see, oh look, the xenomorphs up above. And is it going to get him? There we go. It comes down. And Now we've got Wendy and Joe arrive. Wendy clicking, and it jumps. It don't get him. It jumps over him and takes out all these security guards that, as I said, it's bulletproof and just kills them. What's the point in having weapons in this? I don't know. The only weapons that seem to work against anything in this series is the stun guns, the zappy things. Anywho, I think he kicks him here. Gives him a good kick to the face like that. There we go. Right. So, they've entered the lab of Siberian and the other security squad or whatever. This was the squad that Joe was the medic for. Anyway, so they're in the lab. She's looking around. We see that. Look, that's from the plant alien thing. I presume it's got a name, but I don't know. We don't know where they got all these aliens from. Did they go to LV-426 for the xenomorph eggs? Where did they get the other stuff from? I don't know. I mean, there are other moons in that system, aren't there? I think the moon from, or the planet from Prometheus, I think that's in the same system. I'm sure I saw that on a YouTube video recently. Anywho. It gets her. There we go. It gets her. I'm going to show it. Burbling. There we go. It's going to get her now, look. Because she's just looking up. And it's going to just grab her. Which surprised me, I must admit. I thought one of the fellas had be got and she'd have to save them. Modern. But she's just shooting blindly. So I think killing her own people. There we go. Apart from that fella. And so she's dead. Kills her. And then I don't know what happens to him. I can't remember. Anyway, meanwhile, back on the beach, and poor Arthur is lying there. But eyeball aliens found him. Don't know why it's done to him. Don't know. There must be lots of dead bodies littering the island, including in the base itself. If it wanted to go into a human, why didn't it just go into, one of them? Or did it want this? Did it want Arthur specifically? I have no idea, but it goes into him. Even though he's been dead for God knows how long. So in it goes. There we go. And he sits up. In a minute. There we go. So it can possess the dead now. It makes zombies. It is now zombie eyeball alien. So don't know what's going to happen with him in season 2, if we do get a season 2. But anyway. Meanwhile, the Yutani forces are coming. Here we are in their airships. They call them airships in this for some reason. I don't know why. And obviously an overlay of Ms. Yutani watching, because it's Noah Hawley and he thinks he's arty, doesn't he? So the Yutani force are arriving and they say, it's invasion protocol, we're going to seize everything and all that stuff. I was hoping they was going to nuke the island, but they don't, they're invading it. Right, so the hybrids have put all their enemies into the holding cell. There was Kirsch there with his broken back. They've cleaned him up a bit by the looks, got all the milk off him. And we see that Boy Cavalier's tied up. Dame Sylvia's there. Atomites, they've tied him up as well. And they've got Morrow tied up and they've put... you can't see from my fat head. Hang on. Oh, no, because it'll go off. Never mind. We see that Morrow... They put the thing back on Morrow's arm. Anyway, so... She's saying she says basically there's Wendy that we're in charge now and we're not going to do what you say anymore and we're going to rule. And we see that the alien is actually, the xenomorph is actually outside because she can control them. Is it going to show it? No, for Pete's sake, it'll show it. But the bloody skip on this thing. And the others arrive. It's going to show it. The plant monster and the eye thing got away. So we don't know what's happened to the other security guard, the one that were there when the plant monster got Siberian. But we're going to see that not only she got her friends there, the other hybrids, but she's got the xenomorph and the other xenomorph. Is it going to show us? For crying out loud. It is. We're going to see it in a minute. And then Joe arrives. Here we go. There it is. The xenomorph's there. Her pet xenomorph. And we see, look, it's got a little pet of its own. It's got the other one as well. So there are 2 xenomorphs now. Has that got horns? Is it? Oh, no, it's just the lighting. I thought it had horns then. It's just the lighting. So the 2 of them look at it going, hey, look at me little fella, look. So anyway, so there we go. Now we rule, she says. And that's the end of the season. That's how it ends. So there we go. Babu Cisse, there we go, him that plays Morrow. Thank you, credits. So there we go, yeah. The end of season 1, 8 episodes. Not the best. But I can't say I hate it. I don't hate it, because it's quite funny in places. It's just not very well written. But it looks nice. But all the characters are bloody awful. Apart from Timothy Oliphant's character, Kirsch, and Babu Cisse's Morrow, and Adrian Edmondson's Atomites. Everybody else, don't care about them. The star of the series, Sydney Chandler's Wendy/Marcy, is horrible. She's just killing people left, right and centre. But anyway. Yeah. A terrible end to the first season. What did was Noah Hawley confident he'd get a season 2? I have no idea. But apparently it's not been announced yet, I don't think. Has it been officially announced, season 2? Now that season 1's over, we're going to get an official announcement. Alien Earth season 2. Is it going to say anything? Let's have a look then. The Hollywood Reporter. Oh, let's have a read of this then. Oh, for Pete's sake. Just a minute. Bloody ad blockers doing stupid things. Go away. It's just going to keep saying allow ads in it. I've got to... Oh, no, we're all right now. Right, so I'll drag this over. Just bear with me. Where are we? Right, I'll drag this over. We'll have a read of this, shall we? Because this is from today. Or yesterday, sorry. Alien Earth creator Noah Hawley on that finale cliffhanger and season 2 plan. Oh, pardon me, I'm burping. Have a drink of water, Steve. Right, the showrunner on the final moments of season 1, how they impact the show's future. These children have no idea what's coming, I presume he says. There's Timothy Oliphant as Kirsch. Right, go away. Right, so where was it? FX's Alien Earth, Disney Plus internationally, concluded its debut season run with a moment that almost felt like a stage play curtain call. All the acclaimed sci-fi dramas surviving broken toy characters, some like Timothy Oliphant's Kirsch, literally broken, together in one room, including the xenomorph. I mean, nobody died, apart from Arthur. But we see that he's not really dead. He's come back, hasn't he, as a zombie eyeball alien. But anyway, apart from the red shirts, the security people, they didn't quite take a bow for the audience, but their ambitions and murderous resentments were seemingly put on hold for now. The uniquely staged cliffhanger was also rather practical. Showrunner and executive producer, and up his own arse, artsy fartsy Noah Hawley, arguably gave himself plenty of options for season 2, rather than box himself into one particular direction following a season that incorporated several different ideas, genre styles and threads. Ahead of the finale, Hawley spoke with the Hollywood Reporter. Hang on, let me move this over here a bit. There we go. Where were we? About how the finale set up a second season of Alien Earth and how the vibe of the show's final moment may be a bit deceptive in terms of what comes next. I'm guessing it's going to be all-out war, because remember these tiny forces, Weyland-Yutani forces are arriving, aren't they? Anyway. So with Fargo being this is them asking this question. So with Fargo being an anthology series with a story that wrapped each season, and it was pretty good. I used to like Fargo. I wasn't a fan of the season with, I can't remember, was it Chris Rock? Yeah, it was Chris Rock. I didn't like that one. You could always do a finale on that show where you could just do anything you wanted. This felt like a finale. It didn't feel like a finale at all. Where you kept all the chess pieces on the board. Yeah, apart from the red shirts. I know you have a long-term plan, but is there also some degree of let's see what the audience reaction is to these characters and these storylines before making any permanent decisions about them and the Season 2 storyline? As I said, he seemed confident that they were going to get a Season 2. He replies, I think there's an artistic answer to that, told you. He thinks he's an artist. He's an artiste. And there's a commercial answer to that, right? Obviously, I had to plan and execute a story that's going someplace. It didn't go anywhere, did it? Nothing happened. And then this whole thing is a proof of concept experiment to see if enough people on the planet want to watch an alien TV show to justify the expense of a second and third season of an alien TV show. So has he planned up to season 3? I've heard some people say planned up 5 seasons. Anyway. So for me, I never hedge my bets. This is not a closed-ended season. This chapter is closed, but your tiny troops are landing. The balance of power has shifted. These children have no idea what's coming. The last line of "Now we rule" is triumphant and uplifting. She's a murderer. She's like killed loads of people. I'm not just meaning the soldiers. She's like killed. She's had the alien kill like lab workers and people, cleaners and stuff, people just doing their jobs. You know, not henchmen. Anyway. But cut to 10 minutes later, and what is going to be happening? So I like that it has that real-time urgency to it. Except we're not going to see it for like another 2 years at least, are we? Because you know what Hollywood's like these days. It's also worth looking at some of the structural elements. I'm used to working with 10 hours, and I had 8 hours here. And it shows. And because of the way the story unfolded, I had 2.5 hours at the crash site. Well, maybe you shouldn't have then. Maybe you should just be a better writer and get your story told better. And I came back to Neverland for 1.5 hours. Then I had a spaceship episode, the show's 5th. And then I had 3 episodes to pay off the Neverland story. There was a lot that had to be accomplished in a constricted period of time, so there were a lot of structural challenges to make sure that it's not only immersive on a character and thematic level, but that the show can set and pay off a story while setting up a future story. What's gratifying to me from the critical response is that this high-degree difficulty dive seems to have landed. From the critical response, I've seen nothing but bad reviews. I haven't seen anybody say that this is amazing. Even like channels like Heavy Spoilers and Alien Theory haven't said it's amazing. I don't think they've said they hate it or anything like that, but they haven't. They don't seem to have been, reading between the lines, they don't seem to have been blown away by it. Anyway. Boy Cavalier, how long is this article? I don't know. Boy Cavalier Samuel Blenkin seems proud of Wendy Sidney Chandler, saying, "Now we rule." He started laughing. When she said that, he started laughing, giggling maniacally. Does it suggest that she passed some sort of graduation in his mind that he's privately had? No, he's just mental. I think he is. I'm glad you picked up on that. There's this word that was coined in Northern California, disruptor. Boy Cavalier has real anti-authoritarian issues from his father, even though he's the figurehead of a corporation that rules a good portion of the world. Anyway. And came into this world where there were 4 major corporations in the span of 6 to 8 years, became a rival to these people. Everyone else is invested in maintaining a status quo, and he is an anarchist. So how did the corporations end up controlling these parts of the world? Because we see that they've got like military assets and stuff. So how did... I don't know. He's an anarchist, I feel like. I've read that. So I think there's something about this moment where he realised that not only has he created this immortality product, but is it? I mean, are they... They're dead, aren't they? We can see the graves, they're dead. Are their memories in the robots just... Can they be copied? I don't know. It suggested, I think in the previous episode, that they can't transfer the memories to another body Because when Tootles were killed, it was suggested that they've been having trouble with that aspect, and Boy Cavalier said, well, that's $6 billion down the drain. But anyway. But that his best invention is this self-aware machine. If you're Peter Pan, he's obsessed with Peter Pan, and you want death to adults, how great is it that the children are going to rule now? It'll be awful. It'll be like Lord of the Flies, won't it? Who knows what will happen? So if season 1 is Peter Pan, is season 2 going to be Lord of the Flies? Maybe. So I do think he certainly has a low point when Wendy holds up the mirror and shows him who he really is. Yes, she said to him, you're not Peter Pan, you're just an angry little man, she said. Anyway, but then there's delight in the fact that she's picking up the matchbook and is ready to burn it all down. It's so exciting what's going to happen next. It was actually Morrow that we're going to burn it all down. That's what he said. Did Morrow. I'm going to burn this place to the ground. And then he got captured. What is the latest? Oh, here we go. On potentially getting a season 2. Previously you said the show could run, here we go, first as many as 5 seasons. There we go. But I noticed you just referenced getting a second and third season. So it made me wondering if you've adjusted that ambition at all. To which he replies, no Hawley, I wouldn't read too much into that. I don't have a destination in mind. I don't know how long it will take me to get there. It's been such an amazing act of play for me to enter this franchise and bring my own ideas to it. And just like with Fargo, I think, who am I kidding? As long as they let me tell stories in this tone of voice, don't just get somebody else to write. I'm going to tell stories in this tone of voice. Right now, I feel flushed with enthusiasm for this hybrid show. See what he did there? That I've made between Alien and looking at the future of humanity in a way that feels entertaining. People were expecting, by the way, in the last episode for there to be setups, for the Nostromo, for the Alien film, because it's set only like 2 years before Alien, the events of Alien, and people were suggesting that they were going to set him, maybe mention the Nostromo, or mention Weyland-Yutani has another ship in the vicinity of Zeta 2 Reticuli, or something like that, but they didn't. So I don't know. And look, there are artistic goals. It's off again, isn't it? And the commercial goals. I think we've launched incredibly well, and I'm certainly hoping that it's not a long nail biter of can we do this again. I'm sure you can do it again. It'll just be, if you're writing it and directing it, it'll be just as bad as season 1. My hope is certainly the next couple of months to get some kind of sign from them as to whether I should get another job or get back to work. That's it. That's the end, right. So he doesn't know. We don't know if there's going to be a season 2, according to the Hollywood Reporter yesterday. So, yeah. Let's go back again and see if there's... to click that properly. Let's go back. Alien Earth season 2. Look at the other reports. No. Just saying he's given this interview, hasn't he, with the Hollywood Reporter. So we don't know. What's that? A surprising update from Forbes. This is from today. Right, let's have a look. I think he's just saying the same stuff, isn't he? Talking to somebody else. He's confident that they'll get to make more. But there's been no official announcement, has there? Been no official announcement. So the boss of FX has told him they wanted him to focus on at least writing 2 seasons of it before returning to a possible 6th season of Fargo. But as I said, nothing officially announced. No, nothing officially announced for season 2. Right, fair enough. Right, so yeah, season 1, not very good. But I didn't hate it because I did actually find it quite entertaining, but in the wrong way, because I was just like going, a lot, or why did they do this, or why are they so stupid? I think that's the big thing that people remember about this season of Alien Earth. A lot of the characters are incredibly stupid, and why are the xenomorphs bulletproof? I don't know, but How can she talk to him? Does she know what she's saying? Why does nobody ask what the alien is saying in response to her? If she can speak to them and give them orders, tell them what to do, and they obey, they're not killing her or people around her. So she's the new queen. By the way, the one part of it, if you look at her, she does look, I don't know, vaguely similar to a character in Alien Resurrection, the Winona Ryder character called Call. And there was a part of it where I was thinking, is she going to be one of the well, she's a hybrid, isn't she? But is she going to be one of the androids that leads the revolution in, I don't know how many years? Because remember, Alien Resurrection is like 200 years, isn't it, after Alien, or Aliens. Say 250 years-ish after the events of Alien. So maybe she does live that long and lead a revolution. Because she was saying, I'm not Wendy and I'm not Marcy. So who am I? She said to Joe. And I was expecting him to say, he might actually say it, I don't know, but what am I going to call you? And I was expecting him to say, Call. Because that was the Winona Ryder character. I thought that was going to be a reference, but it wasn't. Because she does look a little bit like Winona Ryder's character in Alien Resurrection, which I like. I'm one of the people that likes that film. But anyway. Right, so there we go. We'll leave it there. So that's my review of Alien Earth Episode 8, the finale. It's not very good. Not a lot happened in it. A couple of people died. Red shirts essentially. But all the main characters, even the ones that had died previously, are back on their feet again. Apart from Kirsch, who has had his back broken. But I'm sure they'll fix him for season 2. If we get a season 2. I kind of want a season 2. Because I want to see what happens. Even though it's rubbish. As I said, it looks nice. The sets and the... I can't say the photography's nice because it looks a bit flat. Even the bits in the jungle and stuff with all the foliage and that, it kind of looks flat to me. But anyway, there was not any depth. But the sets are lovely, and particularly in the episode where it was set on the Maginot, those sets look just like the Nostromo and stuff from Alien that were amazing. But anyway, so I'm hoping we do get a season 2. I also want to see what happens. I want to see Weyland Yutani troops just get slaughtered by these. By that time, they'll have 2 xenomorphs running about, won't they? And the eyeball alien zombie going round, going 3.14159.265, because that's all he knows. Pie. And who else? Oh, the plant aliens floating about as well. I think it's like I think when it moves about, it's a bit like an octopus or something. You know, it like opens up and does stuff. We see it in the background a few times. See if I can find it. We do see it in the background. But I'm probably not going to find it. Knowing my luck. I think it's in the lab. But not here, but later. When the other soldiers get in there. Hey. Here we go. Right. Here we go. We see it in the background. Right, so they're going to go in here. Right, now just kicks him. And as they come in, we see it up on the wall in the background. I'm probably not going to see it, am I? Oh dear. And it kind of looks a bit like an octopus. Can you see it? It's there somewhere. Or did I dream it? Oh, there it is. Look, there it is. Look, on the wall there. Look behind it. You see it moves off. Look. Right, I knew I'd seen it and not just dreamt it. For some reason, she goes in there and it stinks. I imagine it smells all, I don't know, sulphur-y, acid-y, ammonia-y. I imagine it stinks. That's the alien that Marcy killed in the earlier episodes. But anyway, I digress, as usual. Right, so we're all done and dusted for Season 1 of Alien Earth, a terrible series. But I kind of like it at the same time. Even though I don't like it, it's rubbish. It's terribly written. But I still want to know what happens next. So could you say mission accomplished for Noah Hawley? I don't know. Is it more? It's more morbid curiosity than actual enthralling storytelling. Really, I just want to see what happens next. So there we go. But how long will we have to wait? Another 2 years, 3 years for season 2? Because they don't rush about, do they, Hollywood these days? Just get on with it. Get it filmed and get it out next year. Like they used to do in the old days of TV. They used to bang out 20, 24 episode seasons, didn't they, in a few months? But anyway, right, we're done and dusted. We'll leave it there. We will leave it there. So thanks, Win Grace and Josh Temple, for popping in while I go through that episode. We will see what happens. Don't forget, got merch, alien-inspired merch. Over on the store. Follow the store button or whatever it's called. I don't know. But anyway, so there we go. Right, so thanks for watching. And wherever you are, look after each other. Don't get got by aliens if you can help it. I know if aliens are going to get you, they'll get you, won't they? Nothing you can do about it. But don't be driving along long country roads at night if you can help yourself. But anyway, I'm waffling again. So look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee.